Chapter 639. Skeleton Shore Camp. Han Fei asked with a dark face, "What I'm going to say next may be a bit scary. Now I need you to calm down immediately. Don't think about getting points." Wu Xiaoxiao asked, "Captain, what happened?" "If I'm right, our skeleton shore has been targeted by the red demons. And there's more than one." "Huh? More than one? How come? Why are the red demons targeting our skeleton shore?" All the teams were shocked. It was fine for him to beat up regular sea creatures and inferior manfish. But the red demon had already exceeded their strength. If nothing went wrong, even if hundreds of them attacked together, they might not be able to trap a red demon. Even if they fought desperately, dozens of them would die before they had a chance to catch a red demon. So, when Han Fei said that the skeleton shore was targeted by the red demons, who wouldn't be scared? Han Fei was helpless. "I didn't mean to surprise you. Once a red demon invades, I can only block one at most. Many of you will die. Our 8th battalion only has so many people in total. We can't afford to lose so many people, so I remind you that if something goes wrong, use all your life-saving skills. Poison King Jixing use it." Someone suggested, "Change teams. Should we find someone to help us?" Han Fei shook his head. "We don't know when the red demons will come. They can't stay here all the time." Someone suggested, "We can ask the higher-ups to send a strong master." Han Fei sneered. "If you know that the red demons will come tomorrow, that's fine." Someone was distressed. "Without help, we can't beat them. Our skeleton shore is so small that we don't even have enough space to set up traps." Han Fei's eyes suddenly lit up. Traps are good." The man shook his head. "No, what kind of trap can trap and kill a red demon? Unless we find a powerful array master to set up a powerful killing array." Han Fei immediately thought of something. "A killing array?" Leng Hui suddenly said, "A killing array is useless. If a red demon goes out, the army will definitely attack, and the killing array will be destroyed immediately." Wu Xiaoxiao asked, "What about poison? Isn't Captain Chao the poison god?" Chao Qiu was still confused. "Don't drag me into the fight." Han Fei nodded. "Chao Qiu, I'll leave the poison god to you. How many have you made?" Chao Qiu shrugged. "Only about 100 kilograms. "How powerful is it?" Chao Qiu nodded. "He's several times better than the Poison King." "Give them all to me." Chao Qiu was helpless. "I just made it." Han Fei looked at Chao Qiu. "We're in a life-and-death situation. Why are you so hesitant? Do you want to die?" Chao Qiu sighed. "Alas. Fine. I'll give it to you. However, the antidote has not been completely developed yet, so it will probably take a few more days." With that, Chao Qiu handed Han Fei a sea-swallowing seashell. Han Fei took it without hesitation. If he was really targeted, this thing would definitely be of great use. Seeing that they couldn't give a reason, Han Fei ordered them to disperse. What really worried Han Fei was not the attack of the red demons. Han Fei was worried that all his clients would be killed. If so, wouldn't he suffer a huge loss? He was determined not to allow this kind of thing to happen, so he had to use it to scare them. If these people were hot-headed, they would do it. That night, Han Fei went to find Xia Xiaochan. The location of the Dark Hunter Legion was a secret, and Han Fei didn't know where it was. He had heard from Xia Xiaochan several times that it was not fixed. However, most of the time, it was somewhere near the coast in the south of the Transverse Mountain. Han Fei tried using the communication waste tag for a long time and finally received a reply from Xia Xiaochan in the west of the Transverse Mountain and the Twisted Forest, near the south coast of the sea. After a moment, Xia Xiaochan appeared in front of Han Fei. "Why did you come to see me today? Did you miss me because I didn't come to the last party?" Han Fei grinned. "Of course, I can't wait to kidnap you now." Then Han Fei looked at Master Hexagon, who was moving behind Xia Xiaochan. "Don't hide. What's the use of hiding?" "I'm not hiding. I just want to sleep." Han Fei reached out, took off the hexagon starfish, and put it on his shoulder. "Xia Xiaochan, do you need it recently?" Xia Xiaochan nodded. "Not much, but big starfish are still useful." Han Fei pondered for a moment. "I'll take it with me today." There's a little accident on my side, and I need to set up some arrays. Xia Xiaochan was smiling just now, but her face suddenly changed. You're in trouble? How did your waist tag become 4 stars? Han Fei said with a smile, I accidentally became a 3-star refiner, so I changed my waist tag. Xia Xiaochan was stunned. Has your secret of refining been exposed? Han Fei shook his head. No, I can really refine now. Let's not talk about this. Can you use the divine weapon in your body now? Xia Xiaochan sighed and said, I can't. It doesn't listen to me. I'm still using ultra-quality spiritual weapons. Han Fei nodded and then handed out 2 small bottles. This red bottle is Poison God, the upgraded version of Poison King. Thud. Xia Xiaochan took 3 steps back. I don't want it. Han Fei said, take it. You can use it when you have to. This green bottle is the antidote. However, the antidote can only remove 80% of the effect. It's up to you. I'll take Master Hexagon's starfish away later. Xia Xiaochan said in disgust, hurry up and take it away. It asks me for spiritual stones every day. It's so annoying. Han Fei chuckled. But I'll go back later. So Xia Xiaochan rolled her eyes at Han Fei. What? Han Fei took Xia Xiaochan in his arms and was about to flirt with her, when his face suddenly changed and he used the draw technique to leap into the air. Clang. With a crisp collision, sparks flew from the collision of cold lights. Han Fei felt a shock on his wrist. The enemy was very strong. Immediately, he punched dozens of golden fist marks, all of which were blocked by a cold light. Xia Xiaochan flashed, and a weird red light appeared in the air in the blink of an eye. Then, a figure appeared in the night. The man clenched his wrist, and blood flowed down his arm. Han Fei narrowed his eyes, full of killing intent. Or you. If you don't tell me, I'll kill you. The opponent was not a peak-level hanging fisher, but his strength was not weak. He should be about the strength of an advanced hanging fisher. But Han Fei was not afraid at all. He had even killed a peak-level hanging fisher. Why would he be afraid of an advanced hanging fisher? Xia Xiaochan's face suddenly turned cold and she said angrily, Gong Wenhai, if you do this again, I'll kill you too. Han Fei frowned. Are you from the Dark Hunter Legion? The young man didn't care about what Xia Xiaochan said but just looked at Han Fei coldly. Who is he? Han Fei immediately grinned. Who did I think he was? It turns out that he is a pursuer of my little wife. However, you have no chance. If you dare to harass my wife again, I will kill you. Gong Wenhai was full of killing intent. You dare to call me that again? Han Fei said happily, little wife, Xia Xiaochan is my little wife. Get out of here. Swish. An extremely fast knife light with soaring killing intent slashed directly at Han Fei. Xia Xiaochan's eyes turned cold. You're courting death. Han Fei's pupils constricted. He activated the majestic mystic spell, activated the draw technique again, and fused the invincible knife intent. Gotcha. Gong Wenhai's knife light full of killing intent was cut through by Han Fei, but the invincible knife intent didn't stop and continued to attack him. Xia Xiaochan had already appeared behind Gong Wenhai at this moment, and a flaming stab stabbed directly at Gong Wenhai's neck. Too late. Xia Xiaochan's knife stabbed into the air, and Gong Wenhai was pushed away. What replaced it was a woman who still retained her charm, but was rather cold and elegant. This woman didn't seem to be very old, only in her 20s, but the 5-star waist tag on her and the strong bloody aura around her reminded Han Fei of a word, blood guard. Blood guards were the name of a blood guard. Only those who killed 100 people could become a blood guard. This woman's strength and aura were even stronger than Zhong Han's. Obviously, she was a peak-level hanging fisher. At this moment, the woman held Xia Xiaochan's dagger with 2 fingers and slashed the crystal-like dagger 9 times in a row, barely blocking Han Fei's draw technique. Interesting. A peak-level dangling fisher can actually suppress an advanced hanging fisher after using a secret method. No wonder Xiaochan likes you. Xia Xiaochan's eyes were cold. Captain Shui ran, why did you stop me? The cold beauty smiled faintly. Do you think I'll let you kill Gong Wenhai? At this moment, Gong Wenhai had already stood up. He was shocked and thought to himself, this guy is clearly a peak-level dangling fisher. How can he defeat me? Just now, I almost used my family's secret method. Han Fei glanced at Gong Wenhai indifferently and said leisurely, if this kid doesn't listen to me, I'll kill him sooner or later. Gong Wenhai said, try me. The woman named Shui Ran smirked and said, what a tyrannical person. But aren't you afraid that I'll kill you now? Han Fei sneered. Try me? Asking for votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 640. Han Fei was not afraid of this blood guard at all. He would have been a little scared before he made the breakthrough. Although he still couldn't beat the blood guard, he wouldn't be killed immediately. If he ran away, Han Fei would definitely find Wang Dashui to make trouble for him. Han Fei absolutely didn't believe that Wang Dashui's strength was only worthy of a 6-star rank. How could a student from the Thug Academy only be a 6-star? Besides, according to the Thug Academy's character, how could they not protect their own? Let's not talk about the consequences first. It shouldn't be a big problem. Shui Ran suddenly sneered. You're very bold. However, don't provoke me like this in the future. Did you come here today to have a private date with a member of the Dark Hunter Legion? Usually we have to deal with this matter. Han Fei said lightly, how to deal with it? Shui Ran waved her hand. Forget it. Since you and Xiaochan are a couple and we're not on a mission, you can do whatever you want. But Xiaochan, remember to come back early. With that, Shui Ran swayed into the darkness, and then she turned her head to look at Gong Wenhai. Why are you still standing here? Don't you feel ashamed enough? Or don't you feel ashamed? Gong Wenhai was still looking at Han Fei coldly, and Xia Xiaochan said, if you do this again, I will stab you to death. But Shui Ran frowned the moment she turned around. This boy's fighting intent is so strong. She believed that even if Gong Wenhai burst out with all his strength, he would at least be seriously injured. If he was slightly weaker, he would have been killed by Han Fei's knife just now. After the two of them left, Han Fei put away the knife and smiled playfully. Not bad. You've only been here for a short time, but you already have die-hard fans. After meeting Xia Xiaochan for less than half an hour, Han Fei hurried back to the skeleton shore. The first thing Han Fei did when he returned to the skeleton shore was to drag Chao Qiu up. The two of them went to the offshore area of the skeleton shore. Chao Qiu looked frightened. What are you doing? I'm making the antidote. I don't want to fight. The point is it's just the two of us. We can't fight. Chao Qiu muttered. He thought Han Fei was crazy. The red demon was much stronger than him. He didn't think he could beat it. Han Fei said angrily, fight? This is called nipping a problem in the bud. If I'm not mistaken, the two of us were targeted by the red demons during the tide of red ghosts. We might even be wanted. If we don't take precautions now, are we going to wait for the sea demons to lead their army here? Chao Qiu shrugged. I can't help you. I'll leave all the poison gods to you. I'll head back first. The hexagon starfish was also a little frightened at this moment. Red demon? Starfish couldn't beat it. Starfish doesn't want to fight. Han Fei said gloomily, shut up. We're not here to fight, we're here to set up a trap. Count on the junior and intermediate hanging fishers of the 8th Battalion? It's already pretty good if they can block 2 red demons at most, and many of them will definitely die. Chao Qiu said, huh? Then why didn't you ask for help? Also, you told them that red demon was coming. What's his purpose? Han Fei sneered. I'm just giving them pressure. I don't want them to die because they have an ultra-quality spiritual weapon with a sealed soul. Han Fei thought to himself, I've worked so hard to cultivate high-quality customers. I can't let them die, at least not this month. I'm counting on them to earn points for me. In the sky, a fishing boat flew over. It was Lu Bin, the captain of the 7th Squad. They were originally a team responsible for night reconnaissance. At this moment, seeing Han Fei and Chao Qiu, of course he ran over and asked them. Lu Bin asked, Captain Han, Captain Chao, are you going to sea? Han Fei said lightly, I suspect that there will be changes in the near future. Let's go to the surrounding area to observe the terrain and see if we can set up an ambush. You continue to patrol. Lu Bin was stunned. Ambush? Captain Han, can you two do it alone? Han Fei shrugged. Don't worry about it. By the way, did you send more people today? Lu Bin immediately nodded. Of course. Since we knew that the red demons were here, there have been 8 squads patrolling at night. We dare not neglect them. Han Fei nodded. But, in addition, go back and inform everyone to prepare for battle from tonight. I want everything within 200 kilometers of the offshore area to be under control. Everyone must enter the battlefield as soon as possible. Lu Bin was taken aback. Captain Han, why do you have to do this? Han Fei said lightly, just go and inform them. It's better to be safe than sorry. Lu Bin looked serious. With that, Han Fei continued to move forward until he was more than 100 kilometers away from the coast. Han Fei scanned with his perception and found that there were no exotic creatures nearby, so he dragged Chao Qiu and jumped into the sea. Although Chao Qiu was reluctant, Han Fei was too strong. However, Chao Qiu still asked, why are you so sure that there will be sea demons leading an army to attack? Han Fei smiled. It's just a feeling. The attack during the day was just a test. The red demon personally led the team, so we can't be careless. It's better to be safe than sorry. In fact, what Han Fei didn't say was that he saw a half-mermaid today. They were coming to negotiate with him. Obviously, they had been targeting him for a long time. It was reasonable to say that the red demon was here, but the half-mermaids shouldn't have appeared here. At every gathering, Luo Xiaobai would analyze the current situation and the situation of their respective garrisons for everyone. Besides, even in such a huge battle as the Tide of Red Ghosts, only a small number of half-mermaids appeared. So, there must be some factors that he didn't know about their appearance here. Underwater, Han Fei directly set up a concealment array and then looked at the hexagon starfish. You set up a killing array. The hexagon starfish rolled its eyes. Starfish, I can't. I don't know how to set up a killing array. Han Fei pointed at its big eyes and said, are you kidding me? You know you are with me now. If something were to happen to me, you'd be dead as well. Listen to me, you set up a killing array, and I will set up a concealment array and a spirit gathering array. Let's set up a few big arrays first. With that, Han Fei looked at Chao Qiu. What life-saving means do you have? Give me some. Chao Qiu was confused. I don't have. No, you do. According to Han Fei's understanding of Chao Qiu, since his family threw him to the Scattered Stars Island, they must have given him something. The amulet jade and the immortal seal were all necessities. However, these things might not be able to protect Chao Qiu. Therefore, they must have left him other offensive means. In this way, Chao Qiu could be safely protected. Han Fei said, Ball, let me tell you a secret, I seem to have seen a half-mermaid today. Chao Qiu was stunned. How is it possible? Aren't there only red demons? Han Fei said, do you understand? I'm not sure. If a half-mermaid comes, why do you think it is? They must be targeting us. Don't forget how many creatures we poisoned during the Tide of Red Ghosts. Chao Qiu shivered immediately. Then, the half-mermaids have to find reinforcements. Han Fei sneered. Reinforcements? I'm not sure about this. Is it useful to find reinforcements? If the reinforcements come, will they come to support us in the future? Besides, if the red demons attack and the poison god doesn't work, the 8th battalion is very likely to be wiped out. Do you think you can escape? Chao Qiu was anxious. But I don't have many life-saving means. Han Fei smiled. I don't want too many, just the kind that can kill a hidden fisher. I don't care where you pull it out from. As long as you can guarantee that you can kill 2 level 50 red demons, I'll kill you. As for the rest, leave the poison god to me, and you can leave. Chao Qiu was stunned. Really? Of course. Chao Qiu immediately took out 2 pieces of ancient jade. There are 2 strikes of a peak-level hidden fisher sealed in them. Here you are. I'm leaving. Chao Qiu slipped away. Han Fei's eyelids twitched violently. He was so shocked that he didn't stop Chao Qiu. Just how many such tricks did this guy have? It was too much to casually give out 2 of such an attack. Back then, he bought a peak strike of a junior hidden fisher from junior Uncle Faceless for 100 million mid-quality pearls, which was worth at least 800,000 if not 1 million. Originally, Han Fei's real intention was just to ask Chao Qiu for one of the tricks, but he didn't expect this guy to give him two without thinking. Damn it, if I had known earlier, I would have asked for more from him. Seeing Chao Qiu run away, the hexagon starfish immediately said, "How about I set up a defensive array?" Han Fei sneered. "Do you think your defensive array can resist level 50 creatures?" The hexagon starfish's eyes flickered. "No way." Han Fei nodded. "That's right. Both the defensive array and the killing array need to be set up. The bigger, the better. The more the better. It's very difficult to set up a killing array. Besides, will they be fooled?" Han Fei grinned. "It's my business whether they will be fooled or not. Your business is to set up the array for me." Well, setting up the array actually requires a lot of spiritual stones. Han Fei immediately looked at the hexagon starfish, and his tone became lower and lower. "But not so much. There seems to be a kind of killing array in my inheritance, but the requirements are indeed a bit high. After all, formations are not only the mysteries of heaven and earth, but they also require the support of spiritual energy." Han Fei thought for a while. "I'll give you 1,000 caddies of spiritual spring." 1,000 caddies of spiritual spring was actually more than 1 million points of spiritual energy. In addition to the spirit gathering array that he would set up later, spiritual energy within a radius of dozens of kilometers would gather in an instant, which could continuously supply the killing array. At least, it would be able to last for a while. The hexagon starfish asked, "Then can I go after setting up the array? I miss Xia Xiaochuan. I'm going to find her." Han Fei sneered. "Don't you think about your essence blood? You're really a starfish with no ambition. You know, once this ambush is successful, I will get a lot of points. If there is a chance in the future, maybe I can go to the deep sea and grab some spirit awakening fluid. This is all your opportunity, you know?" The hexagon starfish's eyes kept rolling. Starfish don't need so many opportunities. Han Fei made up his mind. "Just do it. If you talk nonsense again, I'll stew you." The third update, asking for votes. 6,500 votes at about 7 p.m. End of this chapter. Chapter 641. The formation lasted from midnight to the next day. Outside the killing array was a spirit gathering array covered with a defense array, and a concealment array covered with a concealment array. The four arrays overlapped each other, which was the largest array Han Fei could think of at present. Besides, without the help of the hexagon starfish, it couldn't be done at all. Seeing that it couldn't get away, the hexagon starfish suggested setting up another concealment array outside of Han Fei's concealment array. This way, they could basically ensure that no one would discover this place. But Han Fei didn't. He knew that the hexagon starfish didn't like his concealment array. But it didn't matter. Although his concealment formation didn't seem to be that perfect, it didn't matter. But what he wanted was this imperfection. Otherwise, if he were to perfectly conceal himself from others, how would he be able to lure the fish to take the bait? Seeing that the array was set up and it was only a matter of time for him to launch it, Han Fei came out of the array. As soon as Han Fei came out, he sensed that Chao Qiu was flying in the sky 2,000 meters away. Han Fei jumped out of the water and said telepathically, "Why are you still here?" Chao Qiu looked at Han Fei strangely. "I'm just afraid that if you are killed by the red demon, I can save you." Han Fei rolled his eyes. "It's great that you're here. Stay away from here, 5,000 meters away. Don't let anyone approach this area." Chao Qiu wondered, "What about you? Where are you going?" Han Fei grinned. "Lure the enemy deeper. It just so happens that I haven't been out to sea for so long. Let's go for a stroll." In Chao Qiu's opinion, Han Fei was a lunatic. The Scattered Stars Island was extremely dangerous. Didn't he see that so many hanging fishers only dared to patrol the coast? You, a peak-level dangling fisher who just got a 4-star rank, dare to go deep into the ocean? Han Fei suddenly figured it out last night. First of all, he was sure that yesterday's attack was just a test, so he could sort out his thoughts. He hadn't been out to sea much recently. The most recent time he had been to the Path of Giants was during the Red Spirit Tide. After returning, yesterday's breakthrough in the water could be counted as the first. He must have been seen by the inferior manfish that escaped, which attracted the red demon to test him. However, what could the inferior manfish see from him? Was it worth it for the red demon to send a group of inferior manfish and blue-patterned armored shrimps over to test it? Han Fei was not sure. He speculated that some aspect of his breakthrough might have attracted the inferior manfish's attention. This also meant that there was something on him that was worth the red demon probing. In that case, it was even more certain that the mermaid's appearance was not a coincidence. Instead, it was premeditated. This meant that the other party really wanted to talk to him about something. Han Fei found it weird, but he couldn't help but be curious, so he summoned the hexagon starfish to set up this killing array. At this moment, Han Fei was 500 kilometers deep into the sea, and an exotic meteorite conch leaped away from him. How could Han Fei let it go? He had gone deep into the sea to use himself as bait. Therefore, from the very beginning, Goldie had already possessed him. Little Fatty was attached to Little Gold. Compared with the slow speed of the meteorite conch, Han Fei could replace an exotic weapon spirit in his ultra-quality battle suit. The battle in the water began. The meteorite conch, which devoured meteorite iron, had a strong defense. It was good at using the cicada shedding shell technique. When it had nowhere to run, it would give up the meteorite shell and burrow into the sand to escape. How could Han Fei let it do that? After fighting for more than 10 minutes, he finally took down this exotic meteorite conch. As for sealing the spirit, it was much faster. If he gave it to the demon purification pot, it would only take less than 10 minutes to seal the spirit. This was a pleasant surprise. Although it was the first time that Han Fei had used an exotic creature as a weapon spirit. At this moment his ultra-quality battle suit was shining, and the surface of the battle suit was flashing with luster. Why haven't the inferior manfish come yet? Is it because my fighting is not loud enough? Han Fei frowned slightly. According to his estimation, this shouldn't be the case. If he was targeted by the sea monster, there should be a large number of inferior manfish near the skeleton shore at this moment. Could it be that I guessed wrong? Han Fei wasn't sure. He made up his mind and began to practice the 108 Desolate God Body at the bottom of the water. When practicing the Desolate God Body, Han Fei also specially set up a spirit gathering array. Under the dual summoning of spiritual energy and energy, he wanted to see if he could attract the inferior manfish. After about half an hour, the inferior manfish didn't come, but many other creatures nearby were attracted. Han Fei saw two exotic creatures. A dazzling jellyfish. A razor clam that crossed the water. However, neither of them stopped. Han Fei was going to chase them, but the razor clam flicked and disappeared. Han Fei almost caught up with the other jellyfish. Han Fei only had time to see that its name was lighthouse jellyfish. However, the jellyfish suddenly burst out with dazzling light, then turned into light and disappeared. Pretty smart. Han Fei was about to continue to practice the 108 Desolate God Body, but in his perception, a half-mermaid had appeared on a seabed reef about 5,000 meters away. Han Fei's heart tightened. Here it comes. Guessed right. A sea monster is indeed targeting me. Han Fei sensed around, trying to find if there were any red demons. However, he didn't find any this time. In his perception, only this half-mermaid was looking in his direction. I didn't bring anyone. Han Fei's eyelids twitched. The half-mermaid was still 5,000 meters away, but its voice fell into his ears. This wasn't anything special in itself. It wasn't strange for sound transmission to be able to travel a long distance, but it was strange for one to have such a wide range of perception. Han Fei was not bragging. Even peak-level hanging fishers shouldn't have a perception range greater than his. Han Fei responded, "Are you waiting for me?" This half-mermaid's speech didn't seem to be very standard. Maybe because its structure was different from that of humans. When it spoke, it sounded a little shaky and its voice seemed to be layered. However, this half-mermaid spoke much more fluently than Han Fei had seen before. Han Fei asked coldly, "Why are you looking for me? What can I do for you?" The half-mermaid replied, "A demonic weapon on you." Han Fei chuckled. "Nonsense, I am an orthodox human being. How can I have demonic chi?" The half-mermaid said again, "Yes, the aura of a demon and a demonic weapon." A demonic weapon? Han Fei froze for a moment. A sea demon's weapon? Han Fei couldn't help but think of one thing. The book that he had dug out from the roots of the 10,000-year-old big red trunk. At that time, Yang Ruoyan wanted to grab it, but he got it first. However, that thing was weird. As soon as the book was opened, it seemed to be able to capture one's soul and hurt him just by opening it. So far, Han Fei didn't dare to open it again. Although he didn't know how this half-mermaid found it, Han Fei wouldn't admit it. "How can I have a sea demon weapon? Are you mistaken?" The half-mermaid had already swam over to Han Fei, and Han Fei immediately stepped back. "Don't come over. Just stand there and talk." The half-mermaid stopped and replied from a distance, "You have used it. There's a residual aura." Han Fei narrowed his eyes. He had only flipped through that book once. At that time, he was injured by it. Was it because of this that the aura was left? Why didn't he feel it at all? Even Old Bai and the others didn't notice it. Otherwise, they would have told him long ago. The half-mermaid said with a ferocious face, "Trade." "Trade?" Han Fei was amused. "You mean you want to make a deal with me?" Han Fei thought, "That's funny. If you don't want to trade with me, fine. You, a sea demon, want to trade with me, a human? Even if I am a fool, I know this is a good thing." But Han Fei didn't show any expression on his face. He just said lightly, "Let's not talk about whether I have the so-called sea demon weapon on me. Tell me what you want to trade with me first." Spirit awakening fluid. The half-mermaid bared its teeth and spoke in the sea, its long hair dancing with the waves, giving Han Fei the illusion that he was communicating with a human. Han Fei suppressed the shock in his heart. "Spirit awakening fluid, how much do you have?" 3,000 caddies. At that time, Han Fei's body trembled. Before, he didn't know what 3,000 caddies of spirit awakening fluid meant, but now how could he not know? The price of a caddy of spirit awakening fluid had reached 5,000 high-quality pearls. Besides, there was no market for it. He had specially learned that there were not many spirit awakening fluid that could be bought with high-quality pearls. Ordinary people would exchange for it with points. 5,000 points for a caddy. Now he could only exchange for more than 200 caddies with all his belongings. This half-mermaid offered 3,000 caddies as soon as it opened its mouth. How rich! Of course, Han Fei didn't want to exchange it. He hadn't even taken out this book, and the half-mermaid had already offered 3,000 caddies. If he took it out, it was possible to get 10,000 caddies. However, this half-mermaid was a rich man. How could he extort the spirit awakening fluid from it? "Tonight I won't." After all, the votes haven't reached 6,800. It's rare for me to take a break. There's still a long way to go. Thank you for your support. End of this chapter. Chapter 642. Han Fei's mind was spinning. He was considering the possibility of a trade. "Let's not talk about whether I have the demon weapon you mentioned or not. Even if I did, what makes you think I would trade with you?" The half-mermaid said, "You can't." Han Fei sneered. "I can't use it, so you have to use it? What if you use it to deal with humans? Wouldn't I be a traitor to humanity?" The mermaid swallowed the seawater and said, 5,000 caddies. Han Fei was lost for words. Is it a matter of weight? This is a matter of righteousness. The half-mermaid muttered, "The remaining aura is only worth 5,000 kilograms. Han Fei frowned deeply. He didn't expect that sea demons would trade with human beings. However, how could he give up 5,000 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid so easily? He couldn't buy 5,000 caddies of spirit awakening fluid even with all the high-quality pearls he had. It would be a joke if he said he wasn't tempted when this mermaid opened her mouth and offered 5,000 jin. Han Fei immediately said, 10,000 caddies. If you can give me 10,000 caddies, let's trade. 5,000 caddies, it's only worth so much. You don't have to trade, I'll take this place. Han Fei was speechless. That's a fixed price. Threatening me? Do you think yours truly is someone you can threaten? Han Fei pondered for a moment. Let me think about it for a day. If I think it through, I will wait for you at the bottom of the sea at this time tomorrow. But don't play any tricks, I will bring people. The half-mermaid said, more than 10 people, more than 4 stars. The deal is cancelled. With that, the mermaid turned around and disappeared into the boundless sea. Han Fei's face darkened. It was impossible for him to change. Otherwise, if Han Fei was discovered, he might be killed on the spot. But he wanted 5,000 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid. Han Fei licked his lips and said to the hexagon starfish, Mr. Hexagon Starfish, how do you think we should deal with her? I didn't dare to test you. It doesn't matter. That half-mermaid is definitely not weak. Let's kill her tomorrow night. By killing her, of course, he meant poisoning her to death or killing her with Chao Chio's 2 ancient jades. It was unrealistic to seek help from others. At that time, there would be no way to explain it. Why did the mermaid come here? Why did the mermaid come here with spirit awakening fluid? Besides, once the spirit awakening fluid was exposed, it would be hard to say how much he could get. Han Fei just wanted to ask Wang Dashui for help. But on second thought, wouldn't senior brother Dashui's appearance be too big of a commotion? If a 6-star master came here, it would be easy to notice. Only by killing the mermaid on his own could he keep the spirit awakening fluid for himself. Of course, the risks were huge, but so were the rewards. Han could not imagine that when of Han of Wang, he would be that Han of the of Wang to of C. At this moment, the only thing that Han Fei wasn't sure about was how far the mermaid's perception range was. If something were to happen at that time, it would be difficult for him to deal with it. Wang of half he. About it. Han Li about it. But Han Li Han he I he. Fine, drag Chao Chio here and give him some spirit awakening fluid. Well, 200 caddies should be enough for him. That night, in the place where the formation was set up, Chao Chio was flying in the sky 2,000 meters away. Chao Chio shivered. Why did you only call me? If the sea demon army comes, I won't be able to save you. It's okay. I have a way to get out. Besides, there was an 80% chance that there was no sea demon army at all. We may face a hidden fisher-level sea monster. This? Chao Chio immediately gasped. Are you crazy? How dare you provoke a sea demon at the level of a hidden fisher? Han Fei thought of something. That's why I dragged you here. If something were to happen, I'm counting on you to save me. Chao Chio was speechless. How can I beat a hidden fisher? I won't fight. Chao Chio's head shook like a rattle. He had made up his mind. No matter what Han Fei said, he wouldn't fight. Han Fei patted him on the shoulder. You don't need to do anything. Just throw the treasures out. At most, I will think of a way to return it to you. All right, you should stay away from here for now. The attack range of a hidden fisher is quite large. I can't guarantee that you won't be affected if you get close. In Han Fei's speechless gaze, Chao Chio had already flown out. Han Fei, on the other hand, put a hand on his shoulder and stopped the hexagon starfish who was about to run. Why are you running? Don't you have any confidence in the array that we set up ourselves? The 6 big eyes of the hexagon starfish rolled like a top. I'm not confident. I've never set up a killing array. Han Fei sneered. If you don't have confidence, later, if we really start fighting, we'll die together. In the array, Han Fei opened the concealment array a bit more, revealing a flaw, and he was practicing the 108 desolate god body in the center of the array. Han Fei had spent a lot on these arrays. Today, he specially added 3 ultra-quality spiritual stones to strengthen the arrays. It would be a great thing if a hidden fisher couldn't find a hidden array that had exposed flaws. That meant that she was much weaker than he had imagined. 2 hours. 2 hours. There was a breeze on the sea, and no fishing boats passed in all directions. At this moment, almost all the members of the 8th Battalion were waiting for news on the skeleton shore. Han Fei just sent 8 teams to patrol the sea as usual. Otherwise, If the mermaid sent the inferior manfish to inquire about the news and found that there was no scout, it would arouse suspicion. When the moon hung high in the sky and the bright moonlight sprinkled on the sea, Han Fei suddenly stopped cultivating. He saw someone coming extremely fast, like a flashing movie, passing all the way. That figure was coming directly to Han Fei's concealment array. His target was very clear. Han Fei couldn't help but wonder if his array could resist it. 1,000 meters away from Han Fei, a voice transmission came. "Why? Is there an array?" Han Fei stood in the array and smiled faintly. "Of course it's to prevent you from killing me. I've set up 2 defensive arrays and a spirit-gathering array, which can continuously maintain the power of the array. Why are you afraid of this?" The half-mermaid shouted, "Withdraw!" Han Fei shook his head. "It's impossible to withdraw. Since you have seen through the concealment array, you shouldn't be afraid. Since you have seen through the concealment array, you shouldn't be afraid. Otherwise, unless I bring a hidden fisher here, who can be your opponent? Only by trading with you in the array can I be safe." The half-mermaid just thought for a moment and entered the concealment array calmly. As Han Fei said, unless a hidden fisher came, who could be her opponent? Besides, she had already monitored the surroundings and found no abnormalities. At this moment, information emerged in Han Fei's eyes. After seeing this information, Han Fei was shocked. It was indeed a hidden fisher. Besides, it was not a beginner hidden fisher, but almost at the level of a junior peak-level hidden fisher. Making a deal with such a creature was like asking a tiger for its skin. Han Fei was sure that although the red demon might be at the same level as this half-mermaid, its combat power was definitely not as good. Mo Qianshang in the level 3 fishery was also a half-mermaid. If he hadn't killed him, he would have been the strongest among the younger generation of the 36 towns. Concealment meant that he wouldn't be discovered by others. When the half-mermaid entered the concealment array, Han Fei calmed down, pretended to look at his shoulder indifferently, and then said to the half-mermaid, "Where is the spirit awakening fluid?" The half-mermaid stared at Han Fei. "Demon soldier." Han Fei said coldly, "I have to see the spirit awakening fluid first. Otherwise, how can I believe you? I know you are strong, but I don't necessarily have no trump cards. Otherwise, how would I dare to trade with you?" The half-mermaid was not good-looking, with no flesh on its face, prominent cheekbones, and undulating gills on its neck. Most importantly, they always liked to bare their teeth. Their mouths full of steel teeth were the most degrading part. The half-mermaid opened its mouth and spat out a sea-swallowing seashell. With a thought in her mind, the sea-swallowing seashell opened like a phantom, and inside was a pool of blue liquid. It was just a glimpse, and Han Fei didn't see how much spirit awakening fluid was in it. Besides, her technique was weird. Was the way sea demons used their sea-swallowing seashell differently from humans? If Han Fei hadn't bought spirit awakening fluid from Uncle Faceless, he would have thought that this half-mermaid was lying to him. But just now, he clearly felt that there was a lot of spirit awakening fluid, so there should be no mistake. The half-mermaid muttered, "Demon soldier." Han Fei sensed again. Although he knew that the other party would discover his perception, it didn't matter. Only by being cautious would the other party believe him. After confirming that there was no one else within 5,000 meters, Han Fei suddenly took out a red and demonic book and placed it in front of him. However, the mermaid's eyes suddenly widened as if she had seen something incredible. However, before she continued to read it, the book had been put away by Han Fei. If this thing was released, it would affect one's mind, so Han Fei was usually reluctant to touch it. Every time he scanned Forge the Universe, he would automatically ignore this book. However, seeing the half-mermaid's expression, Han Fei frowned. This thing seemed to be more than 5,000 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid. However, Han Fei didn't panic. He didn't intend to give it to the half-mermaid. Han Fei glanced at his shoulder again. Before the hexagon starfish took action, the half-mermaid suddenly took action. 5 dark blue claws tore at the defense array. Chapter 643. At the moment Han Fei gave the order to attack, the array under Han Fei's feet was fading, and the real defensive and killing arrays were right under the mermaid's feet. Han Fei sneered. It seems that you don't intend to exchange with me. Same here. The defensive array was dimming, and after the half-mermaid's blow, it was almost half-dimmed. After all, the hexagon starfish was only a level 43 creature. Even if it was a mysterious creature, it was still quite difficult for it to trap a sea demon above level 50. But Han Fei didn't intend to trap it for long. At the moment the mermaid attacked, dozens of caddies of poison god were wrapped by the infinity water, entangling the mermaid. Hiss! The mermaid couldn't roar and could only make unpleasant hissing sounds. Then the bottom of the sea shook. In Han Fei's perception, a large number of marine creatures around were swarming over. Han Fei's face changed slightly. Sea demons could control ordinary marine creatures? He was shocked. He thought that sea demons could only control certain marine creatures, such as big sword water fleas, tide calling crabs, blue-patterned armored shrimp, and so on. But at this moment in Han Fei's perception, almost all the nearby creatures were swarming over. Killing array rise. Infinity water explode. Inside the defensive array, the mermaid's second blow still failed to break the defensive array. However, after this attack, the entire defensive formation dimmed, and the area that was attacked had already cracked. The hexagon starfish said in a panic, "I can't trap it anymore." From the beginning of the mermaid's attack to the moment the defensive array was about to be broken, only 1 second had passed. At this moment, a dense purple light was rising from the ground. This was the killing array set up by the hexagon starfish. At this moment, almost all the spiritual energy absorbed by the spirit-gathering array set up by Han Fei was absorbed by the killing array. At this time, there was a riot under the sea. In Han Fei's perception, a red demon appeared. Han Fei immediately sent a message to his waist tag, "Call the highest rescue. 20 kilometers away, very close, very close." At this moment, Han Fei didn't care about it at all and picked up an ancient jade in his hand. The blow of a peak-level hidden fisher is enough to kill a level 52 mermaid. As soon as the ancient jade was broken, a terrifying fist shadow condensed on the bottom of the sea. The sea demon in the killing array was stunned. At this moment, how could it still attack the killing array set up by the hexagon starfish? An incomparably huge squid appeared. Han Fei just glanced at it. Is this the sea demon's companion spirit, Overlord Squid? The seawater surged, and the Chao clan's fist imprint had already been launched, bombarding with huge waves. On the sea, with a swish, Chao Chiu flew into the sky where Han Fei was. At the same time he was shouting, "Highest alert, the red demon is attacking, hurry up!" In the distance, in just a breath of time, 2 red demons had already traveled halfway. Seeing the liquid spurting out of the mermaid's mouth, Han Fei knew that the poison god worked. At this moment, he was holding the blood-drinking knife, wearing an ultra-quality battle suit, and wearing the 6 spirit armor. He fully activated the majestic mystic spell, and Little Fatty and Little Gold. The drawing technique, which was infused with the invincible saber intent, was unleashed at full force. Regardless of whether it worked or not, there was only one chance. Once the red demon arrived, there would be no chance. Buzz. Before the fist shadow arrived, the half-mermaid had been locked on. The powerful aura even shattered the killing array set up by the hexagon starfish. Han Fei saw with his own eyes that the huge overlord squid was punched with a huge hole. Han Fei's blood-drinking knife followed closely, piercing directly into the mermaid's chest in the filth. The Chao family's fist imprint seemed to be so powerful that it blasted a big pit on the seabed. Half of the mermaid's flesh and blood had collapsed. Plus Han Fei's attack, even if she was a hidden fisher, she couldn't survive. Just when Han Fei was about to chop off her body proudly, all of a sudden, the mermaid who was about to die stabbed the bone of her hand at Han Fei's chest as fast as lightning. How is this possible? The 6 spirit armor shattered. The spiritual energy protective cover shattered. The hand bone actually pierced through the ultra-quality battle suit that had just been sealed with a spirit. Then, it continued to penetrate 3 inches into Han Fei's body, and a majestic demonic aura was injected into Han Fei's body, intending to destroy Han Fei's body. Perhaps this half-mermaid didn't expect Han Fei's physique to be so strong. Although Han Fei's entire chest was already badly mutilated, its sharp claws still failed to tear Han Fei apart. Was it blocked by Han Fei's flesh and blood? The extremely powerful indestructible body was so powerless in front of a hidden fissure. At this moment, Han Fei felt the aura of death. The half-mermaid's dying blow was so sudden that Han Fei didn't even have time to use his amulet. Besides, being stalled by the half-mermaid, Han Fei had lost the opportunity to escape. The two red demons had already rushed 500 meters away. One of the red demons had already thrown out the small harpoon in its hand. In an instant, the amulet given by Old Bai had been used by Han Fei. A milky white barrier blocked in front of Han Fei. The harpoon appeared almost at the same time as Han Fei's amulet. Under the flickering light of the amulet, Han Fei managed to hold on. At this moment, Han Fei heard Chao Chio's voice transmission, "Hurry up and use the other attack." Han Fei smiled bitterly. "Do you think I don't want to? It was too fast." It really happened in the time it takes for a spark to ignite. A hidden fissure was killed in less than 2 minutes. Can you believe it? However, because of the amulet, Han Fei took the time to crush the second ancient jade. At the same time, he collected the half-mermaid's body into Forge the Universe. The fist marks of the Chao family appeared again, and the area within 100 meters around Han Fei was covered with fist marks. The two red demons were rushing over quickly and had been locked on, so they had no chance to dodge. They seemed to know that they couldn't escape at all. A dark red bone spear appeared in the hands of the two red demons almost at the same time. Obviously, it was not the two red demons' own means. These two bone spears had already shot straight at Han Fei. Almost at the same time, the bone spear had already pierced the amulet. Under the attacks of two hidden fissures or even hidden fissures, Han Fei's amulet lasted 2 seconds. He flew backward more than 800 meters and his amulet was broken. Swish! 6 purple lights rose, and the 6-gate formation opened, continuing to block the two spears. Gotcha! The 6-gate formation was broken, and immediately afterward, the spears fell on Han Fei's shoulders. Puff! Han Fei spat out a mouthful of blood. The ultra-quality battle suit was pierced and deflated, and the harsh friction sound rang in Han Fei's ears like a death sentence. In the end, the two spears still pierced Han Fei's shoulders because the defense of the broken ultra-quality battle suit was greatly damaged. Puff! He spat out a mouthful of blood again. Han Fei's 2 shoulders were pierced. The spear tips failed to penetrate Han Fei but pressed against Han Fei's crystal-clear bones. At this time, Han Fei didn't know whether the Chao family's fist mark had killed the two red demons or not. Because above the sky, a fishing hook had fallen, tied Han Fei up, and pulled him into the sky. The savior was naturally Chao Chio. This guy didn't dare to make a move just now, and he had no chance to make a move at all. When Han Fei was pierced by the 2 spears, he took action and quickly hooked Han Fei out of the bottom of the sea. Otherwise, the rioting creatures on the bottom of the sea might tear Han Fei apart. Puff! In mid-air, when Han Fei was pulled onto the fishing boat, he vomited a big mouthful of blood again. Covered in blood, Han Fei gritted his teeth and said in a trembling voice, "Son of a bitch, this is too fucking strong." The hexagon starfish fell directly from Han Fei's shoulder, and its 6 big eyes were already blurred. Just now, although it was Han Fei who suffered the damage, it was also shaken by the continuous forces. At this moment, it had collapsed on the fishing boat. Chao Chio panicked and wanted to run immediately, but Han Fei said with difficulty, "Red demons." Chao Chio was almost crying. "What time is it? You still want red demons?" Han Fei widened his eyes. Ability, kill them. Points. After saying this, Han Fei fainted. He really couldn't stand it anymore. This time he was really careless. He had thought that he was already cautious enough. The defense array, the 6-gate formation, the ultra-quality battle suit, the indestructible body, the 6 spirit armor. Little Fatty's resistance effect. In fact, there was also Forge the Universe that could help him escape. He had taken all these into account, but he still almost couldn't stand it. He felt that he was so close to using the immortal seal. If it hadn't been for the six-gate formation that the hexagon starfish raised just now, which made him feel that the power of the two spears was decreasing, he would really have used it. When Han Fei woke up, he was in extreme pain all over. His two shoulders seemed to be pressed by two boulders and he couldn't move at all. And in his chest, he could still feel that there was a force trying to shatter his vitality. However, fortunately, the vitality of the indestructible body was strong, so that force didn't succeed. Swish. A soft divine healing technique was sprinkled on him. Han Fei took a long breath and slowly opened his eyes. However, as soon as he opened his eyes, he found that he was locked in an iron cage. Han Fei? Han Fei turned his head and looked to the side. There were cages connected to him, and cages on the other side of the cage. Fuck, where is this? Hey! Chapter 644. Han Fei turned his head and looked at the speaker, only to find that it was a middle-aged man with disheveled hair and a dirty face. His clothes were ragged and his hands were full of dirt, and he was making fun of him. Han Fei felt that this person seemed to be very happy, but he didn't know why. Han Fei couldn't help asking, "Where is this?" The man chuckled. "Where is this? This is a prison. The famous Scattered Stars prison. You don't even know this. Yes, you were unconscious when you were carried here." Han Fei frowned and wanted to sit up. Unfortunately, his injuries hadn't healed yet, and it seemed that the person who treated him didn't use his full strength. Han Fei could only continue to cast the divine healing technique on himself. Why did I come to the prison? I've killed 2 red demons, haven't I? Didn't I make a contribution? Han Fei lay flat, turned his head, and asked the sloppy middle-aged man next to him, "Who sent me in?" "Who else? Except for the jailers, who can enter the Scattered Stars prison. By the way, what did you do?" "I killed 2 red demons. Who the fuck sent me here?" The man sneered. "A peak-level dangling fisher killed 2 red demons? Ask yourself, do you believe it?" Han Fei snorted. Believe it or not, Han Fei was in a bad mood. No one would be in a good mood if they woke up and found themselves in a prison, right? The sloppy middle-aged man commented, "However, you, a peak-level dangling fisher, can get a 4-star waist tag? Did you get in through the back door?" Han Fei said grumpily, "Yes, I got in through the back door of your house." Kids nowadays were quite blunt with their words. However, you probably won't be able to get out in a short time. Take your time in the Scattered Stars prison. I've already killed a few of them. Han Fei was speechless. Take it yourself. I'm still young, so I'm leaving. Han Fei didn't bother to look at this person. He couldn't see through this person's strength, but he should be much stronger than him. However, it seemed that he had been locked up here for a long time. "Young man, what's your name?" "Young man, don't be so cold. It's not easy to meet someone I can talk to. Let's have a chat." "Young man," Han Fei said angrily, "why are you so annoying? Croak, 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 let me tell you I'm going out in 2 days. You, who wants to talk to you?" The man laughed. "Go out? 2 days? You're still young and haven't been to the Scattered Stars prison. I don't blame you." Han Fei turned his head and stopped talking to the nagging ghost. In the end, this fellow continued to nag for 2 hours without stopping. An hour later, Han Fei was able to sit up. He immediately discovered that his sea-swallowing seashell was gone. He didn't use the sea-swallowing seashell very often and kept it on his body. There was only an ultra-quality spiritual weapon and some high-quality spiritual weapons in it. They were worth no more than 20,000 high-quality pearls in total. He reckoned that it must have been searched by someone. However, the ring given by the Time Dragon Carp was still on his finger. It seemed like someone had tried to take it down, but it didn't seem to have been taken away. Han Fei couldn't help sweating. Fortunately, the bastard who got him in here didn't break his fingers. Otherwise, he would hate him for the rest of his life. After moving a little, Han Fei felt that the bones in his shoulders were slightly cracked. His chest was still burning with pain. After all, it was deeply pierced by a hand. Around him, there were empty cells. The walls here were covered with salt frost, and the dampness was mixed with the fishy smell of the sea. However, surprisingly, the ground was not ordinary bluestone, and the cages were not ordinary wood. It seemed that the materials used in these cells were excellent. They should be used to prevent prisoners from escaping, right? Huh. Han Fei observed for a while and suddenly found that his chest was a little cool. Why is there so little demonic energy? Han Fei was suddenly shocked to find that the strange aura that was originally full of his body was now less than half left. When Han Fei looked inside carefully, he found that in his dantian, the seed that had never moved was actually slowly rotating. There was a faint red mist around the seed. Wow! The seed is absorbing this demonic energy? Han Fei's first reaction was shock. Then he was astonished. What was the origin of this seed? Why could it absorb demonic energy? Han Fei quickly closed his eyes and looked at his information. Han Fei was stunned. The upper limit of his spiritual energy had increased by more than 200? How did it increase? Han Fei couldn't help but take a breath. Even if he practiced the 108 desolate god body, it couldn't be so fast. How many days had it been since he made the breakthrough? Was it because of the fight with the sea demons? Or did the seed absorb demonic energy? Han Fei wasn't sure. However, in terms of growth speed, this was a good thing. This meant that he had gained something in this battle. In addition to the half-mermaid in Forge the Universe and the large amount of spirit awakening fluid in her sea-swallowing seashell, he seemed to have unexpected gains that even he didn't know. 3 hours later, Han Fei still didn't see anyone. He was speechless and said to the sloppy uncle who had been chatting next to him, "Where is this person? Is there no one in this prison?" The uncle grinned. "Yo, you're finally talking to me." Han Fei rolled his eyes. "Then tell me now. Are you going to tell me or not? Tell me. This Scattered Stars prison. How can ordinary people come in here? We are on the 3rd floor of the prison. Of course, no one comes here. The jailers eat and drink well on the 1st floor. Who would come to the 3rd floor?" Han Fei frowned. "The 3rd floor? What kind of person would be locked up on the 3rd floor?" The sloppy uncle said, "By rights, you are not qualified to be locked up here. Usually, only hidden fishers are locked up here. It's a miracle that you, a peak-level dangling fisher, are locked up on the 3rd floor." Han Fei's face was gloomy. What happened when he was in a coma? How did he end up in the 3rd level for no rhyme or reason? Han Fei looked at the sloppy uncle suspiciously. "What about you? Are you a hidden fisher?" The sloppy uncle grinned, revealing a mouthful of black teeth. "What do you think? I'm also a very good hidden fisher." Han Fei chuckled. "Then how did you get locked up here?" The sloppy uncle sneered. "I colluded with sea demons. He was caught, so he was locked up here." "Wow!" Han Fei was stunned. "You colluded with sea demons?" The sloppy uncle scoffed. "What do you think? I did business with sea demons. I made a lot of money. I don't know which bastard sold me out. I've been here for 3 years. 3 years?" Han Fei exclaimed. "You colluded with sea demons? Why didn't they kill you?" The sloppy uncle said disdainfully, "How can there be such a good thing? There were originally 5 people in this cell. Later, they were all sent to war. After fighting, I was the only one left." Han Fei understood. "Make use of condemned prisoners." "I understand." "You don't understand. What do you mean colluding with sea demons? Those half-human, half-fish guys have a lot of good things. What's wrong with me exchanging for some? I didn't betray human beings. Damn, they locked me up indiscriminately until now." Han Fei squinted at him. "Even if you say you didn't betray human beings, someone has to believe you." The sloppy uncle shrugged. "They are all old-fashioned. The battle between human beings and sea demons is nothing more than spirit awakening fluid. The largest excavation site of spirit awakening fluid is in the Transverse Mountain. Those in power are happy. Can't we cultivators get something from the sea demons to cultivate?" Han Fei was taken aback. "Wait, what did you say? Isn't the excavation site of spirit awakening fluid in the undersea chimney? How did it become the Transverse Mountain?" The sloppy uncle was taken aback. I forgot you are an angler. After all, there are very few undersea chimneys. Every time one pops up, there will be a big battle. The one in the transverse mountain is controlled by human beings to supply the 1,000-star city and the 36 towns. We fight tirelessly on the Scattered Stars Island, but we don't get any. The more the sloppy uncle spoke, the angrier he became. You don't give it to us. As soon as the undersea chimney appears, we can't get it. Even if we get it, it won't belong to you. The treatment is so bad. What's wrong with me exchanging for some things with sea demons? Do you have to lock me up? Han Fei, 1 day later. Han Fei's injuries had completely recovered. The demonic energy that had been rampaging in his body had almost disappeared, and the upper limit of his spiritual energy had increased to 7,912 points. Chapter 645. The sloppy hidden fisher next to Han Fei was called Zhang Ting, who was a 6-star killer. Because he had been fighting outside the sea for a long time, for some reason, he started to do business with sea demons. In Han Fei's opinion, this was simply ridiculous. You killed sea demons every day, but the sea demons still cooperated with you? Yet, they still chose to cooperate with each other. And the senior leaders of the Scattered Stars Island knew about it. Of course, this was immediately over. It was said that he had never been out since he was caught and sent to the Scattered Stars prison. Since no one came, the two of them started chatting. Han Fei mainly wanted to learn something about the Scattered Stars Island from Zhang Ting. After all, a hidden fisher definitely knew more things than he did and knew more about the Scattered Stars Island. They chatted and chatted, 3 and 2. Big, I'll be crushed. I'll explode. Straight. The two of them chatted, and actually played cards. Zhang Ting sighed. This thing is a bit interesting. Han Fei grinned. Of course, don't you know who invented it? Zhang Ting asked. You invented it? Han Fei chuckled. Sorry, but let's stop playing. We've been playing for so long. Why isn't anyone here? Zhang Ting chuckled. No one will come. Han Fei was speechless. But even if you want to interrogate me, you should at least interrogate me, right? Zhang Ting scoffed. You colluded with sea demons. What's there to interrogate? Han Fei was speechless. Who the hell colluded with sea demons? I killed 2 red demons. How did I collude with sea demons? Zhang Ting asked. When you were first carried in, you were full of demonic energy. At that time, I thought you were a sea demon. Did you transform from a sea demon? Han Fei was speechless. How is it possible? Which part of me looks like a siren? You mean, the Scattered Stars prison caught me as a sea demon? Zhang Ting chuckled. Of course, when you came in, I thought you were a sea demon. Even if you were not a sea demon, you were probably related to one. However, after such a long time, the demonic aura on your body seems to be slowly dissipating. That's strange. It doesn't seem like it dissipated into thin air. Instead, it seems like it fused into my body. If you were me, I would definitely catch you too. Han Fei narrowed his eyes. I absorbed the demonic aura? How come I didn't know? Isn't it because of my healing spell? Han Fei knew that the demonic energy had indeed been absorbed by him. It wasn't as simple as just absorbing it. That thing was simply a great supplement. In the last blow, the mermaid stuffed almost all its remaining demonic chi into its body. Originally, he had intended to destroy the life force in his body so that he would be buried with him. However, it didn't know that Han Fei's physique was so tough, nor did it expect that there was a seed in Han Fei's body that could absorb demonic energy. For the first time, Han Fei took this seed seriously. Previously, when Luo Xiaobai also got a seed, Han Fei thought it was a seed for evolution. Later, Old Bai mentioned that he had to find his own way. Han Fei thought of the path he walked out in a daze in Ren Tianfei's cave and thought this seed was that path. But now Han Fei was not sure. Why could this thing absorb demonic energy? Zhang Ting smacked his lips and waved his hand. The healing spell can heal wounds, but it can't dispel demonic energy. Although demonic energy will also dissipate, there will always be remnants, and it won't dissipate so quickly. With that said, Zhang Ting squinted at Han Fei. So, you still have something to do with sea demons, right? Han Fei said angrily, bullshit, I have a clean background. I killed the Red Demon, which the second young master of the Chow family in the Thousand Star City can testify. I killed the Red Demon with the big fist mark sealed in the ancient jade of the Chow family. Who the hell has anything to do with sea demons? Zhang Ting grinned and said, that's not necessarily true. Maybe some people are sea demons but they don't know it. But you really don't look like one. Han Fei glanced sideways. What do you mean? Zhang Ting stretched lazily. You look too much like a human. Puff. Han Fei was speechless. Are you scolding me? I am a human. Why do I look too much like a human? Zhang Ting chuckled and said, if you are a sea demon, then you are too advanced. To be able to transform into a human form, you have to have at least a level 7 demonic heritage. Well, not necessarily, maybe even higher. Han Fei was about to say, my spiritual heritage hasn't reached level 7 yet. How can I have a level 7 demonic heritage? But on second thought, he was horrified and his scalp went numb. He was just a peak-level dangling fisher, and this was the first time he had come to the Scattered Stars Island. How could he know what a demonic heritage was? Why was he so indifferent when he heard it was a demonic heritage? Han Fei didn't even dare to move his eyeballs. He pretended to be in a daze, but in his heart, he suddenly realized. How could this be a prisoner who had been imprisoned for 3 years? This Zhang Ting was definitely a fake prisoner. The reason why he became familiar with him was that he wanted to lure him into giving in. Right now, if he answered this question incorrectly, he would immediately be labeled as a sea demon. At the very least, he would be charged with the crime of colluding with sea demons. Han Fei was stunned. No, wait a minute. What is a demonic heritage? Zhang Ting blinked his eyes faintly and said calmly, oh, you don't know this. The sea demons were actually a race similar to humans. However, we are different from them. We live on the floating island, and they live in the sea, so we are natural enemies. This demonic heritage is similar to our human spiritual heritage. Han Fei was shocked. You mean, sea demons, like us, cultivate with spiritual heritage? Zhang Ting shrugged. We call it demonic heritage. However, no one knows about it. Some people said that they had seen the king of sea demons, who was almost the same as human beings. Wow! Han Fei pretended to be confused. What do you mean? Zhang Ting clicked his tongue and said, like human beings. They are no different from human beings. Their speech, behavior, and cultivation methods are similar. Han Fei couldn't help but say, like human beings? Are they still sea demons? Shouldn't sea demons be full of demonic energy? Zhang Ting said lazily, alas, maybe. Just like the high-quality spiritual heritage among human beings. Do you know what it feels like to have a level 9 spiritual heritage? Han Fei said weakly, you mean, at that point, even demonic energy will be gone? Zhang Ting combed his dirty hair. That's possible. I'm afraid that it will only be exposed under some special circumstances. For example, seriously injured. While talking, Zhang Ting looked at Han Fei with a smile. Han Fei pointed to himself and sneered. That's too fucking ridiculous. If what you said is true, that kind of person must be a peerless heavenly talent among sea demons. That kind of person is like a treasure no matter where he is. Just like the children of those big clans, who will let the human world take risks. Zhang Ting chuckled. That's true. That's why I said you didn't look like one. With that said, Zhang Ting took out a pot of wine and drank 2 mouthfuls of it. Han Fei was stunned. Where did you get the wine? Zhang Ting blinked at Han Fei and said, just a small trick. I secretly hid a sea-swallowing seashell. But it's been 3 years, and the wine in it is almost finished. Would you like a sip? Han Fei said disdainfully, let me smell it. Could it be that you're afraid that I've poisoned the wine? Han Fei curled his lips. I'm afraid that your wine is too lousy for me to drink. Zhang Ting was speechless. You don't like it? I don't even want to give it to you. Besides, do you have a chance to get out? Han Fei snorted. I can definitely get out. I'm not a sea demon. If you lock me here indiscriminately, believe it or not, my teacher will come and smash the scattered stars prison. Oh? Your teacher is so powerful? Han Fei said proudly, of course. It's not a problem for me to kill a hidden fisher with a slap. Zhang Teng was speechless. You really know how to brag. Do you think a hidden fisher is a yellowfish? Kill a hidden fisher with a slap? Han Fei increasingly felt that this person was not a prisoner. If the Scattered Stars prison was really so powerful, why would they secretly leave a sea-swallowing seashell for you? Are you dreaming? Han Fei said, Hey, let me ask you. How do you think the sea demons cultivate? Why do the inferior manfish look different from the red demons? Zhang Teng exclaimed, You don't know. Han Fei was speechless. I'm not a sea demon. How would I know? Zhang Teng snorted. In fact, they are not much different from humans. In fact, sea demons are also divided into levels. Some creatures will become demons only after they have spiritual intelligence at the beginning. We call it spirit awakening. The lowest level sea demons have 3 realms: spirit awakening, transcending mortality, and spirit guarding. In theory, they correspond to the 3 realms of fisherman, fishing master, and great fishing master respectively. Han Fei was amused. Can they be called demons? Zhang Teng said, Listen to me. After spirit guarding is awakening. Once a creature awakens, it will really have spiritual intelligence and can officially cultivate. In theory, it is the same level as a dangling fisher. Of course, there may be awakening at any stage, and there are naturally very strong creatures who still haven't awakened, so it's just a theoretical correspondence. Han Fei asked, What happens after that? Zhang Teng asked, After that? After awakening, it can only go through the demonic transformation stage, in which it will continue to grow and complete self-transformation. In this way, it will really become a sea demon. So, the demonic transformation stage is equivalent to a hanging fisher, and the sea demon stage is equivalent to a hidden fisher. And above this, there is transcending mortality. At the sea demon stage, it has full spiritual intelligence and is no weaker than human beings. If it continues to pursue, it will become a sea spirit. At that time, it can be said that this sea demon has cultivated to the highest level. Han Fei's eyes flickered. Spirit awakening, transcending mortality, spirit guarding, awakening, demonic transformation, sea demon, sea spirit. Sea demons actually followed such a path of cultivation. Under normal circumstances, a sea spirit was already equivalent to a powerhouse at the level of law enforcer. But there was still a problem. Yang Ruiyun was only at the demonic transformation stage, wasn't she? Why was she basically the same as a human after transforming? Chapter 646. Han Fei was quite curious about the cultivation path of sea demons and asked Zhang Teng. In any case, this Zhang Teng was a fake, so he definitely knew a lot. He still didn't want to expose himself and pretended to be a prisoner. Logically speaking, he would tell her everything he knew. Han Fei sat cross-legged and leaned against Zhang Teng's cage. What happened after that? What came after the sea spirit? Let me think. Isn't that the same level as an explorer? Zhang Teng was puzzled. It doesn't seem right for this kid to ask me like a fool. Did he really have nothing to do with the sirens? Zhang Teng also said with a smile, Theoretically, yes. But that level was already too high. Even now, the red demons we've seen are basically all in the demonization realm. But don't think that the demonization realm necessarily corresponds to the hanging fisher. This sea monster is different from human beings. Sometimes, even if it has the strength of a hidden fisher, it is still in the demonization state. I don't know if they are divided by realms. Han Fei clicked his tongue and said, I don't think so. Let's say a level 100 big fish, such as a cloud whale, suddenly demonized. Do you think it's still in the demonization realm? Zhang Teng waved his hand. I don't know. Who knows? Han Fei sighed. Forget it. What does it have to do with me? I'm the man who killed the red demon. Immediately, Han Fei opened the cage and shouted, "Is anyone here? Is there anyone here? Did they all fall into the trench?" Zhang Ting sneered, "Stop shouting. If shouting was of any use, I would have left long ago." Han Fei snorted. "Why should I? I'm the prodigy who killed the red demon." Zhang Ting was speechless. What's the big deal about killing a red demon? Beneath our feet, there are people who have killed groups of sea spirit level powerhouses. Aren't they also locked up? Han Fei was stunned. What did you say? He killed a sea spirit? That is to say, there are super experts in this prison who have killed law enforcement officers before? Zhang Ting shrugged noncommittally. Han Fei immediately gasped. It's right under our feet? Zhang Ting chuckled. The fourth floor. Han Fei looked at Zhang Ting suspiciously. Aren't you a prisoner? How do you know there's a fourth level of the Scattered Stars prison? Zhang Ting said, I'm a prisoner, but I'm also a powerhouse. I was originally an existence that could have become a 7-star powerhouse. What's wrong with knowing this? Han Fei swallowed. Why is the existence who killed the sea spirits locked in the Scattered Stars prison? Zhang Ting shook his head. Who knows? What if he was in love with sea spirit? After all, sea spirits shouldn't be much different from humans. Tisk. Han Fei said in disdain, old man, who's crazy enough to fall in love with a fish? Zhang Ting chuckled. That's true. It's none of our business anyway. After chatting for a long time, Han Fei pretended to be a novice. At the same time, he was thinking about how he could prove himself in front of Zhang Ting. Han Fei racked his brains. In this day and age, as a human, he had to find ways to prove that he was a human. It was really hard to be a human. So, Han Fei practiced the 108 Desolate God Body in the cage. At this moment, the 108 Desolate God Body was a heaven-level divine quality combat skill, which could absorb spiritual energy from the void. Han Fei stepped on the ground, and a spirit-gathering array appeared. Then he began to practice the 108 Desolate God Body. The surrounding spiritual energy was gathering, which was extremely pure. Zhang Ting was fooled. What kind of body tempering technique is this? It seems to be of a high level. Han Fei smiled. Of course. Don't you know where I come from? Zhang Ting asked, where are you from? If I tell you, I'm afraid you'll be scared to death. Zhang Ting sneered. When I was dominating the sea, did I grow up scared? Han Fei grinned. It's different. Do you know the Thug Academy? It's the Thug Academy that once swept through the 36 towns and the 1,000-star city. This body tempering technique was left by the first-generation ancestor of the Thug Academy. Zhang Ting rolled his eyes. It was the first time that he had seen someone so boastful. I've already thoroughly investigated your background. If it weren't for the fact that you're from the Thug Academy, I wouldn't have bothered to pretend to be a prisoner. I would have killed you as soon as possible. However, what was body tempering? Physique, meridians, and bones. At this moment, pure spiritual energy was flowing in Han Fei's meridians. The spiritual energy flowed slowly, and Han Fei didn't even hesitate to go through the circulation route. After watching for a while, Zhang Ting finally confirmed that Han Fei was a human being. He didn't know if sea demons had such meridians. It was easy to see the problem when one was cultivating. If Han Fei was really a sea demon, his spiritual energy couldn't be so pure. Don't disturb me. I'm cultivating. Zhang Ting hesitated. Actually, Han Fei said angrily, oh, I told you not to talk. I'm going to cultivate early and become a hanging fisher. Zhang Ting was speechless and then laughed. With a turn of his body, he had already appeared outside the cage. When he walked to Han Fei's cage, Han Fei saw someone and immediately raised his head. Then Han Fei sat on the ground. Why did you go out? Han Fei looked at the cage next door. There was no one there. Seeing Han Fei's astonished expression, the corners of Zhang Ting's mouth gradually curled up. With a burst of spiritual energy, all the dirt on his body was removed, and a brand new dark green robe was put on his body. Hanging on his waist was a 7-star waist token, and hanging together with the 7-star waist token was a prison token. Han Fei was dumbfounded. His eyes fell on the prison token, and a myriad of thoughts flashed through his mind. The prison token? Is it the token of the Scattered Stars prison? Why is the token of the Scattered Stars prison with the hexagon starfish? Han Fei thought about it and was puzzled. The hexagon starfish was locked in the ordinary fishery by Ren Tianfei 300 years ago. So, it was reasonable to say that his prison token was at least a product of 300 years ago. If it was a 7-star super expert like hexagon starfish who had the prison token, how could the hexagon starfish have the prison token? Thinking of this, it seemed extremely strange that the prison token appeared in the treasure door of the hexagon starfish. Han Fei remembered that he had asked the hexagon starfish where this prison token came from. The hexagon starfish said it didn't remember. How could the hexagon starfish remember? It only liked shiny things. It would be strange if it could remember this blackened prison token. Therefore, it couldn't have been picked up from the bottom of the sea by the hexagon starfish. Since it was not picked up, it must have been put in by someone. Who put it in? Why put it in the treasure door of the hexagon starfish? The only person Han Fei could think of was Ren Tianfei. Why did Ren Tianfei put the prison token in the treasure door of the hexagon starfish? Was it for Han Fei? Wow! Han Fei couldn't help but take a breath. If this was the case, why didn't Ren Tianfei say it directly? Han Fei was lost in thought for a moment. If it wasn't Ren Tianfei who put the prison token, then who did it? However, in the eyes of Zhang Teng, he thought that Han Fei was surprised to see that he had become a 7-star master. He was very satisfied with Han Fei's current expression, which was even more comfortable than flattering him. Little did he know that the two of them were thinking about two different things. Cough, cough. Zhang Teng said leisurely, Han Fei, one of the deputy captains of the 8th Battalion of the 3rd Column. After 30 years, the first generation of the Thug Academy is really extraordinary. It's really commendable that you dare to challenge a red demon at such a young age. Han Fei suddenly came back to his senses. Are you testing me? Zhang Ting nodded noncommittally. More or less. Although I'm basically sure that you are not a sea demon now, I still have a few questions to ask you. Han Fei pretended to be angry. Go ahead. Zhang Ting asked. First, what is the ring on your hand? I've pinched it. It's extremely hard and can't be broken or taken off. Unless you cut off your finger, even I can't take it out. Han Fei sneered. Then why didn't you cut off my hand? Zhang Teng said with a smile. I wanted to, but when I tried to cut off that finger, a strange power burst out and almost hurt me. This is not an ordinary method. If I really cut off your hand, it would be quite dangerous. Han Fei bared his teeth and said angrily, I made a great contribution and you still want to cut off my hand? Zhang Teng smiled faintly. I didn't cut it off. So what exactly is this? Han Fei snorted. It's a protective item given by an elder. Fortunately, you didn't cut it off. Otherwise, I'm afraid you will regret it. Zhang Teng narrowed his eyes and didn't care. He just felt that he might have underestimated the Thug Academy. Zhang Ting nodded. Okay, let's not talk about this for now. Let me ask you about your physique. Did you cultivate your current physique through that body refining technique just now? Han Fei frowned. Here it comes. Ren Tianfei said that before coming to the unknown place, he should cultivate a body refining technique. He must not expose the indestructible body. Sure enough, someone began to doubt his physique. Han Fei rolled his eyes and said, Isn't that obvious? My body refining technique just now was not strong enough. However, don't even think about it. I won't teach it to anyone. If you dare to rob it, seriously, you will have to be afraid of the revenge of the Thug Academy. Chapter 647. Han Fei looked at Zhang Teng calmly without moving his eyes. Who told you that this is a heaven-level high-quality body tempering technique? Zhang Teng was shocked. Then what level is it? Han Fei grinned faintly. Heaven level, divine quality. Impossible. Zhang Teng suddenly grabbed the cage and glared at Han Fei. There is no divine quality in this world. Han Fei laughed. I give you a chance. Go to the Thug Academy and ask them. As long as you are not afraid of being thrown out, you are welcome to ask them. The Thug Academy once swept the Thousand-Star City. Do you really think we don't have any trump cards? Let alone the Thug Academy. Which big clans in the Thousand-Star City have such a powerful technique? Why don't you go and ask them? Zhang Ting stared at Han Fei. Humph, do you think I dare not? I will continue to investigate this matter. Han Fei said frankly, you are welcome to investigate. Han Fei was calm. It was impossible for Zhang Ting to find out the problem. Of course, Old Bai had long seen that there was a problem with the body tempering technique he cultivated. It was the 108 spirit-absorbing war bodies before, and now it was the 108 desolate god body. No matter which one it was, theoretically, it was impossible to reach his current physique. Old Bai didn't know that, but he didn't ask, which made Han Fei happy. Besides, Han Fei suspected that even if Old Bai knew that he cultivated the indestructible body, what could he do? Although he didn't know the secrets of the Thug Academy, he was sure that they had a grudge against the Thousand-Star City. Only some people in the Thousand-Star City were qualified to have a grudge against the Thug Academy. Otherwise, according to Old Bai's character, the Thug Academy wouldn't have suffered so easily. Han Fei said with a smile, Master Zhang, do you have any other questions? I will tell you everything I know. Zhang Ting restrained his momentum and said with a smile, I do have some questions, but you can't answer them. How did the demonic energy in your body disappear? Don't even think about getting away with it. Han Fei said indifferently, Hey, have you ever heard of a law? Zhang Ting asked, Law? What law? Han Fei shrugged. The law of conservation of energy. Zhang Ting frowned. What is this? Han Fei grinned. You should have known it. Everything in the world was energy. Matter would not be annihilated and would only continue to exist in this world in a certain way. Although I really don't know what's going on with the demonic aura, I'm not a demon after all. Why must you ask me where the demonic aura went? I can only say that it turned into another kind of energy. Perhaps it will be absorbed by me, or perhaps it will dissipate into the world. No matter what, I don't think it will be a big problem. Zhang Ting sneered. What law of conservation of energy? This was the normal heavenly Tao. Your explanation does make sense, but... Zhang Ting stretched out two fingers, pointed at his eyes, and then pointed at Han Fei. If there's something wrong with you, you can't escape my eyes. Creak. The cage suddenly opened automatically. Zhang Ting said indifferently, All right, let's go. Han Fei asked in surprise, You're letting me go? Zhang Ting smiled and said, Why don't you continue to stay here? I didn't lie to you when I told you before. This third floor was really built to detain hidden fissures. Han Fei looked at the empty cells. So, the previous hidden fissures here were really sent to the battlefield to die? Of course. Passing through the second floor and the first floor, Han Fei met a total of 3 jailers. Han Fei's eyes had been staring at their waists. When he found that only Zhang Ting had this prison token, he knew that his prison token definitely didn't exist in the treasure gate of the hexagon starfish for no reason. On the ground. It was not sunlight, but a big dark room. He couldn't see anything. Out of the room, there was a yard. At this moment, there was a gate on the ground in the yard. Han Fei found that Wang Dashuai, Xia Xiaochan, Zhang Xuanyu, Lu Renquang, Luo Xiaobai, and Chao Qiu were all here. At the moment when Zhang Ting came out, the gate hung in the sky, turned into a huge shadow, and slammed directly at Zhang Ting. Seeing this, Han Fei immediately jumped to the side. Zhang Ting punched horizontally, and with a thud he took 7 or 8 steps back. Zhang Ting said angrily, Wang Dashuai, don't be presumptuous. Don't forget where this place is. Although there was a touch of anger on Wang Dashuai's face, he still didn't look ferocious. However, his tone was extremely domineering. My junior brother has made a great contribution. How dare you doubt my junior brother? You're courting death. The gate was raised by Wang Dashuai and slammed down from the sky like a huge flat brick. With a bang, the whole room was smashed into powder. 2 big axes appeared in Zhang Ting's hands, blocking the gate, and he shouted angrily, Wang Dashuai, It's not your business to arrest people in the Scattered Stars prison. Wang Dashui didn't have such awareness. His body, which was as strong as a hill, broke through the air. As the giant gate flapped, a gust of wind blew, and the seven-star Zhang Ting was blasted out one after another. Enough. Zhang Ting's axes flashed in the air. Wang Dashui, do you also want to enter the Scattered Stars prison? Wang Dashui grinned. Have a try. At this moment, Han Fei shouted, Senior Brother Dashui, Senior Brother Dashui, forget it, forget it. Wang Dashui stopped and his face turned ugly. Forget it? Little junior brother, this son of a bitch didn't embarrass you, did he? Han Fei showed a weird smile. Senior Brother Dashui, it's okay. I had a good talk with Master Zhang Teng in the prison. Xia Xiaochan appeared beside Han Fei. Humph, what do you mean good talk? I heard that you were carried in while unconscious. The hexagon starfish was hanging on Xia Xiaochan's shoulder. I helped. But they took you in and I couldn't help them. Han Fei smoothed Xia Xiaochan's hair. It's nothing, nothing. Then Han Fei looked at the hexagon starfish. For the sake of your bravery that day, I'll get you some treasures later. The hexagon starfish's eyes lit up. Really? You won't lie to me? Of course, the benefits are beyond your imagination. Fei Fei, are you all right? Lu Renkuang asked. Han Fei, did he embarrass you? I heard that no one in the Scattered Stars prison has a good ending. Chao Qiu nodded again and again. Yes, I immediately went to find reinforcements. But I didn't get you out until now. Han Fei looked back at the house that had become a ruin and said with a smile, It's okay. I really had a good talk with Master Zhang Teng. Maybe I'll come again in the future. I'd better show some mercy. Again? Wang Dashui stared at him. This place is not good. Let's not come again. Han Fei smiled and said, Who knows? Master Zhang, I won't pay for this house. The sea-swallowing seashells that were taken from me should be enough. Wang Dashui turned his head. Give me back my sea-swallowing seashells. Han Fei quickly pulled Wang Dashui over. Hey, Senior Brother Dashui, it's just a sea-swallowing seashell. Don't be so generous. Wang Dashui chuckled. Little junior brother, it doesn't matter. Clang. Wang Dashui shouldered the door and glanced at Zhang Teng. Fortunately, my little junior brother is fine. Otherwise, I would have smashed you into a fish skin. The corners of Zhang Teng's mouth trembled and he sneered. Really? Let's talk about it after you get a 7-star title. Wang Dashui asked, Little junior brother, let's go. Han Fei had already taken Xia Xiaochan's hand. Let's find a place to have a meal. I haven't eaten for a long time. After leaving the Scattered Stars prison, Han Fei found that this place was as remote as the Scattered Stars 7 units. Wang Dashui said, Here. There are a lot of people and masters watching it. Han Fei was stunned. Senior brother, why did you smash someone's house? Won't anyone make trouble for you? Wang Dashui shook his head. It's okay. Some people are just watching. They won't do anything unless something big happens. Han Fei clicked his tongue. Chao Qiu, thank you. Chao Qiu chuckled. You do have to thank me. If I hadn't fished you out of the sea, you would have been eaten by countless marine creatures. Han Fei asked, What happened then? Was there a fish tide? Chao Qiu shook his head. Didn't we set off the highest alarm? All of a sudden, 8 guard regiments came and directly flattened the skeleton shore. Han Fei let out a long breath. That's good. Xia Xiaochan glared at Han Fei. What's good about it? I heard that you were almost killed. Han Fei bared his teeth. How can I be killed so easily? However, the enemy's combat power was indeed beyond my expectations. Let me tell you, we must not fight head-on with creatures at the level of hidden fishers. We really can't beat them. Everyone rolled their eyes. Isn't that nonsense? Don't you know what realm you are in? Isn't it enough for you to kill peak-level hanging fishers? Now you want to kill hidden fishers? Chao Qiu said regretfully, Give me 2 ancient jades. Han Fei patted Chao Qiu on the shoulder. This time, all the credit is yours and all the points are yours. In addition, I will seal spirits in all your ultra-quality weapons. Chao Qiu was surprised. Han Fei, you are generous? Han Fei was taken aback. Really? Everyone nodded. When Han Fei was about to give the hexagon starfish a reward, everyone was surprised. When did Han Fei become so generous? Han Fei chuckled. It doesn't matter whether it's money or not. I just want to be happy. Let's go. Have a good meal. Chapter 648. They didn't intend to bother Wang Dashui at the beginning of the Scattered Stars Island. After all, Wang Dashui had left the Thug Academy before. Although they felt close, they were not as close as the five of them. Moreover, when they needed to use Wang Dashui, it meant that they had already started to stir up trouble. This is not a good start. At this moment, everyone found a random place in the Hengduan mountain range and began to eat hot pot. Luo Xiaobai frowned. Senior brother, someone is spying on us. In the forest, Luo Xiaobai's perception range should be the furthest. With plants as her eyes, she knew the surroundings better than Han Fei did. Wang Dashui said innocently, "It's okay. It's not the Scattered Stars prison. Anyone who goes deeper into the Hengduan mountain range will basically be monitored." Are there any secrets in the Transverse Mountain? Zhang Ting told him that one of the largest producers of spirit awakening fluid was inside the Transverse Mountain. If that was the case, the entire Transverse Mountain should be the most heavily guarded place on the Scattered Stars Island. At that time, Han Fei wondered why Zhang Ting talked to him. Zhang Ting was very confident about the safety of the spirit awakening fluid collection area in the Transverse Mountain. He was telling Han Fei to see if there would be any follow-up actions after guessing Han Fei's identity. Wang Dashui smiled and said, "Yes." However, there was no need to worry about it, and there was no need to rush in. Most of the experts in Fragmentary Star City are in the Transverse Mountain range. Han Fei's heart skipped a beat. Sure enough, all the strong masters are here. It meant that this was the safest place on the Scattered Stars Island. Picking up a piece of lobster meat, Han Fei asked, "Senior brother, do you know where there are plantations on the island?" Wang Dashui's mouth was covered with oil. He was holding a large piece of sea cucumber meat in his hands and gnawing on it. After hearing Han Fei's words, he couldn't help but say in astonishment, "Plantation? Are there any plantations on the Scattered Stars Island?" Xia Shaochan and the others also looked at Han Fei. Does the Thug Academy have territory on the Scattered Stars Island too? Han Fei grinned. I guess. Han Fei was puzzled. That's impossible. According to old Jiang and Jiang Qin's personalities, if they lived on the Scattered Stars Island for a long time, how could they not establish a plantation? I think it's possible. What if we still have martial uncles on the Scattered Stars Island? Wang Dashui shook his head. No, martial uncle didn't. You still have a senior sister and senior brother, but they are not on the island now. Xia Shaochan asked, "Senior brother and senior sister?" Lu Renquang quickly said, "Then including you, senior brother Dashui, there are 3 of you, right?" Wang Dashui smiled. They go out, I watch the house. By the way, try not to go to sea before you become intermediate hanging fishers. With that, Wang Dashui looked at Han Fei. Little junior brother, don't go out for the time being. Is it very dangerous? Wang Dashui glanced at Chao Qiu, who was engrossed in eating, and patted Chao Qiu with his big hand. Well, do you want to go back first? Chao Qiu paused for a moment. I'm just having a meal. I won't eavesdrop. Xia Shaochan tilted her head and looked at Chao Qiu. Is it delicious? Chao Qiu's mouth froze and he thought, I really won't eavesdrop. Han Fei thought for a while. After all, he could win this time because of Chao Qiu's 2 ancient jades. That thing was extremely precious, and not everyone could have a blow from a peak-level hidden fisher. That sea demon was only a junior hidden fisher. After being poisoned and hit at close range, he died. Han Fei said, Senior brother, it doesn't matter. Just don't talk about the important things. Wang Dashui chuckled. It's not a big deal. It's just that your senior brother and senior sister have a lot of enemies outside. If you don't hide your identity, You may get into trouble when you go out. Everyone looked at each other and understood. Just like when they were in the level 3 fishery, they caused a lot of trouble and were hunted by the whole fishery. It was normal for them to be implicated. Chao Chiu muttered. He had checked the Thug Academy when he went back. Unfortunately, he only found that the Thug Academy used to be very powerful. However, most of the information had long been erased and couldn't be found at all. Now it seemed that this school was not simple. The people who came out seemed to be very powerful. Han Fei was wondering if he should ask Wang Dashui about the boneyard. But on second thought, he hadn't even found old Jiang yet. Why would he ask about the boneyard? In the end, under the strong condemnation of everyone, Han Fei was asked to keep a low profile in the future. After the meal, they didn't stay long. Since Han Fei was fine, they could go back. Xia Xiaochan hadn't left, and neither had Chao Chiu. At this moment, both Han Fei and Xia Xiaochan were staring at him. Chao Chiu looked dumbfounded. Why are you looking at me? Han Fei said grumpily, why are you still here? Are you going to stay with us when we are in love? Chao Chiu suddenly understood. Oh, then I'm leaving. Smack. After Chao Chiu left, Han Fei was slapped on the back. He looked back, only to see Xia Xiaochan glaring at him fiercely. Are you bold now? You haven't even become a hanging fisher yet, but you provoked a hidden fisher? Han Fei was speechless. I didn't. They came to me. Xia Xiaochan scoffed. When you took the big starfish away, I felt something was wrong. I asked you and you said it was fine. Han Fei scoffed. It was fine. If you don't believe me, ask Master Hexagon. At this moment, the hexagon starfish clung to Xia Xiaochan's shoulder. Yes. Starfish almost died. Han Fei was angry. Don't you know how to talk? Can you be a little more sensible? Xia Xiaochan snorted. Forget it? Can you still fight now? Han Fei froze for a moment. What's wrong? I can fight. Xia Xiaochan blushed slightly. Then take me to a place to fight. I feel. Han Fei's face changed. Are you going to have an attack? Xia Xiaochan nodded. After coming to the Scattered Stars Island, I almost had an attack several times. However, it wasn't very strong. I'm going to break out all at once. Han Fei couldn't help but take a breath. Wait, can you control the time of your attack? Xia Xiaochan tilted her head. I can barely suppress it. Once I stop suppressing it, it may break out. I can't suppress it for the next 2 days, so I may have to fight. Han Fei looked serious. He immediately put aside the thought of dating. Let's go to the skeleton shore with me. Xia Xiaochan was surprised. Didn't a big battle just take place there? It's because a big battle has just taken place that it's safe. 2 hours later, Han Fei lay panting in the door of the hexagon starfish, casting the divine healing technique on himself one after another. Han Fei muttered, You're too strong, aren't you? Now that you have an attack, all you take out are divine weapons, and you destroyed 8 sets of my ultra-quality battle suits. Xia Xiaochan squatted beside Han Fei aggrievedly. Does it hurt? Han Fei coughed. Of course, it hurts. Han Fei couldn't help but think of the battle just now. Xia Xiaochan's strength had improved even faster. After breaking through to a junior hanging fisher, Xia Xiaochan's combat power was no less than that of a peak-level hanging fisher when she used the divine dagger. Of course, the main reason was the pair of divine weapons. If Xia Xiaochan had a pair of ultra-quality spiritual daggers, she wouldn't have been so embarrassed. Her stomach had been stabbed 7 times and there were no less than 50 wounds all over her body. It was all thanks to him. If it were someone else, such as that idiot rival in love, Gong Wenhai, he would definitely have been stabbed to death by Xia Xiaochan. Xia Xiaochan reached out her hand in embarrassment. Then I'll give you a massage. Cough. Well, girl, give me a kiss. It can also relieve the pain. In your dreams. Since Xia Xiaochan gradually mastered certain things about love, it was not easy to cheat her anymore. She was not as simple and easy to kidnap as she used to be. If he had known this earlier, he would have taken a step further, and he wouldn't have been so passive now. Han Fei couldn't help but feel sorry. What a big loss. Alas. Xia Xiaochan suddenly sighed. I don't know why, but recently my cultivation has become more and more smooth. I feel that my strength is growing rapidly. I should be able to break through to an intermediate hanging fisher in less than 2 months. Han Fei was speechless and almost vomited blood. Listen, is this even human? I've tried my best, but I barely made a breakthrough. Even if I had a chance, I still haven't been able to break through to a hanging fisher. You, on the other hand, actually complained that your cultivation speed was a little too fast. Han Fei gritted his teeth. Then it seems that I have to break through to a hanging fisher as soon as possible. Otherwise, in another 2 months, if you have an attack, I'm afraid you'll hack me to death. Xia Xiaochan squatted on the ground, holding her chin with one hand, unhappy. Han Fei said, "Close your eyes." Xia Xiaochan shrank back. "I won't." Han Fei said with a smile, "I have a gift for you." Xia Xiaochan asked, "Really?" "Close your eyes first." "Bo." Han Fei, you are shameless." Han Fei laughed. "Kiss me if you can." "I'll kill you." After a while, Han Fei lay on the ground. "Please stop it. I really have a gift." With that, Han Fei took out about 500 caddies of spirit awakening fluid. This time, he actually obtained less than 5,000 caddies of spirit awakening fluid. The mermaid also lied to him. Her sea-swallowing seashell only contained more than 3,000 caddies. However, Han Fei was already satisfied. This thing was not cabbage, so 3,000 caddies was not a small amount. Xia Xiaochan was shocked. Spirit awakening fluid? Han Fei handed it over and said, "I got it from a sea monster. Otherwise, why do you think I fought that battle?" Xia Xiaochan was stunned but didn't take it. She said, "I can't use it now." But Xia Xiaochan said, "As I said, my strength is growing very fast now. I need to suppress it. If you give me the spirit awakening fluid, how can I suppress it?" Han Fei was suspicious. "Maybe it can suppress your illness?" Xia Xiaochan shook her head. "It can't. I drank a lot of spirit awakening fluid last time, but it didn't help at all. On the contrary, it seems to be able to promote my strength faster." Xia Xiaochan didn't want it. The hexagon starfish quickly said, "You don't want it, but I want it." Starfish wants it. Starfish is in urgent need of spirit awakening fluid now. I think I can make a breakthrough now. Han Fei was speechless and frowned. "You want it? You want everything. For the sake of your contribution, I'll give you 200 caddies first. Don't drink too much." Chapter 649. When Xia Xiaochan left, she was going to leave the hexagon starfish behind. She felt that Han Fei was the troublemaker. But Han Fei refused on the grounds that he would be monitored for a while and it was inconvenient to take Mr. Hexagon starfish with him. As for the spirit awakening fluid, although it was good stuff, Xia Xiaochan didn't want it. In her words, she needed to suppress her realm. In the camp on the skeleton shore. When Han Fei returned, many people swarmed up to him. Wu Xiaoxiao asked, "Captain, you're finally back?" Yu Lingyun exclaimed, "Huh, Captain, your strength seems to have improved a bit too fast." Someone said, "Captain, are you okay? I heard that you were seriously injured in the battle a few days ago?" Han Fei smiled. "I'm fine. I'm back safely, aren't I? Come on, it's time to collect interest. I was seriously injured this time and spent a lot of money. Everyone, hurry up and pay back the money. I'm going to buy medicine." At the mention of interest, everyone's faces immediately turned gloomy. Now, the members of the 8th Battalion were all well off. They were all so poor that they didn't even dare to go out on their days off and only dared to scavenge in the sea. Han Fei grinned and laughed. This time, it was more daunting than dangerous, and he had gained huge benefits. Not to mention the spirit awakening fluid, the interest he collected this time was enough to make Han Fei's heart ache. And this didn't include the honor points from the previous battle. After a while, his credit points would soon exceed 2 million. Although it was still far from 8 million points, it would accumulate. However, many a little makes a mickle. By the time almost everyone had repaid their debts, they would have enough points. After collecting the points, Han Fei said with a smile, "You're dismissed. Recently, we have to observe carefully and can't slack off. Yu Lingyun, come with me." In the woods, Yu Lingyun asked, "Captain, what's the matter?" Han Fei asked, "Tell me, what happened after that day?" Yu Lingyun was stunned for a moment and immediately said, "Captain, after you sent a message to all the members to attack that day, we actually didn't fight for long. Because the highest alarm was issued, reinforcements came quickly. Nearly 20,000 people entered the sea and fought unstoppably, almost wiping out the sea creatures on the skeleton shore." Han Fei took a breath. "I'm not asking about that. What I'm asking is, after that day, did any experts come to investigate?" Yu Lingyun looked at Han Fei and nodded solemnly. "Yes, and more than once. Especially the area where you fought. The day after that, it was marked as a forbidden area, and there were people searching for something there." Han Fei was lost in thought. He didn't tell anyone about the half-mermaids, but others might know. Experts could infer the battlefield from the aftermath of the battle. Han Fei wasn't sure whether the half-mermaid had been discovered or not. However, even if someone came to ask, he could just say that the other party had run away. Anyway, it was impossible for them to find the mermaid's body. Besides, Chao Chio's ancient jade was so powerful that the half-mermaid was killed before it had a chance to exert its power. There shouldn't be many traces left. Chao Chio was still studying his poison god. When he saw Han Fei, the first thing Chao Chio said was, "Did the poison god work?" Han Fei thought for a moment. After the poison god wrapped the half-mermaid, the latter was swallowing its internal organs. He had seen it with his own eyes, so he nodded. "I saw it. The god of poison is indeed more domineering than the king of poison." Chao Chio asked, "But it takes time, right?" Han Fei was confused. "Huh." Chao Chio rubbed his head. "I've thought about it. It takes time for the poison to take effect. In the face of a strong expert, there is no poison that can seal the throat. So, I just tried to adjust the formula of the poison god." Han Fei frowned. "Did you adjust it again?" Chao Chio grinned. "But I added the chaotic spirit grass in it. After the poison god enters the body, it will quickly explode and scatter. In this way, the poison effect can be quickly detonated." The corner of Han Fei's mouth twitched. "Take your time to study it. I brought you a gift." Chao Chio asked, "What?" Han Fei took out 500 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid and gave it to him. This was found on the sea demons. There are 1,000 kilograms in total. Let's split it in half. After all, what really killed them was the powerful attack sealed in the ancient jade. Chao Chio's eyes widened. Spirit awakening fluid? 500 kilograms? Isn't that equivalent to 5 million points? For Chao Chio, he was not short of money, but he was seriously short of points. He didn't fight, so he didn't have a source of points. And there was very little spirit awakening fluid on the market, most of which could only be exchanged with points. As a result, spirit awakening fluid couldn't be bought even if he had money. No matter how powerful the Chao family was in the Thousand-Star City, it was not easy for one person to get 500 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid. This was impossible. At this moment, Chao Chio grinned from ear to ear. 500 kilograms. Maybe I can be reborn once. Han Fei asked in surprise, "What do you mean by rebirth?" "Don't you know?" Han Fei. Chao Chio was speechless. "You don't know? Spirit awakening fluid. It is said that if you take it, you can nourish your body for a long time and slowly refine yourself into a flawless body. There is even a certain chance that it will promote the growth of your spiritual heritage." "That's amazing." Han Fei frowned. "Is it that amazing? If it's really so powerful, wouldn't the sea demons have already cultivated peerless sea demons? Wouldn't it be a piece of cake to attack the Scattered Stars Island?" Chao Chio chuckled. "I don't know. Let me try it first." Han Fei didn't feel bad about giving the spirit awakening fluid to Chao Chio. Although this little fatty refused to fight, he had a lot of good stuff on him. As the saying went, it was not difficult to borrow again. Han Fei didn't want to let go of this guy. Han Fei said, "Well, Ball, Do you still have that ancient jade? Give me another one. Chao Chiu immediately shrank his body. I can't give it to you now. What if you make trouble again? Han Fei was a little surprised. This time Grassball's attitude was quite resolute. He thought that after a while, he would find another way to fool him. That was a powerful life-saving means. After chatting with Chao Chiu for a while, Han Fei entered his hut. After setting up a concealment array, Han Fei did not summon Little Black and Little White, but took out a bottle of spirit awakening fluid and began to drink it. Today, when fighting with Xia Xiaochan, Han Fei discovered one thing. When the gap between realms was getting bigger and bigger, he was indeed not so strong. He had to break through to the Hanging Fisher realm as soon as possible so that he wouldn't be so passive in terms of combat power and other comprehensive aspects. After drinking 10 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid in one breath, Han Fei only felt that his head was dizzy, as if he were drunk, as if he was in a fog. In front of him, a flash of black light flashed and disappeared without a trace. Black light? Black and light were rebellious words. Black was darkness and light was light. It was impossible for these two to appear at the same time. But at that moment, Han Fei clearly felt it. However, before he thought too much, Han Fei felt refreshed as if a spring breeze and drizzle had brushed his heart. Han Fei felt that his meridians were numb, and wisps of dense emerald green were fusing into his flesh and bones. Han Fei magically discovered that his physique seemed to be changing slightly. This feeling was similar to the feeling when he swallowed a spiritual fruit for the first time. Because his physique was too poor, his body was being cleansed. The effect of 10 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid soon dissipated, and Han Fei immediately swallowed a few more kilograms without hesitation. Then, Han Fei discovered a strange phenomenon. His upper limit of spiritual energy, which had reached 7,912 points, was slowly decreasing, slowly becoming 7,900 points, 7,850 points, 7,800 points. When the upper limit of spiritual energy was reduced to 7,800 points, Han Fei didn't feel that his physique had become weaker, but that his control of power and spiritual energy tolerance seemed to be a little better than before. Immediately afterward, the data began to rise. After taking 50 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid, Han Fei's data had risen to 7,900 points again. After taking 100 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid, Han Fei's data had reached 7,980 points. The last point seemed to be particularly difficult. After consuming another 100 kilograms of spirit awakening fluid, Han Fei suddenly found that he had reached the level of a peak-level dangling fisher, and his upper limit of spiritual energy was stuck at 7,999 points. Wow! Can I make a breakthrough? Han Fei was a little stunned. Before, when he obtained spirit awakening fluid, he gave it all to Little Black. At that time, because the quantity was relatively small, he was reluctant to use it himself. But now, Han Fei found that the effect seemed to be even better when used by humans. Immediately, Han Fei practiced the 108 Desolate God Body again, only to find that the feeling of body tempering was slightly better. Besides, the upper limit of spiritual energy didn't change at all. Sure enough, the spirit awakening fluid, just like the swallowed spirit soup, can directly improve my physique. Han Fei was very sure that it was not this spirit awakening fluid that could directly improve his realm, but the spirit awakening fluid was changing his physique. Although he swallowed 200 kilograms, his upper limit of spiritual energy was only pushed to 7,999 points. However, this change was caused by the change in his physique. And now, after Han Fei broke through to a peak-level dangling fisher, it seemed that he was about to break through again in just a few days. This seemed a little too fast. Forget it, let's wait for half a month. Han Fei didn't choose to make a breakthrough immediately. He had just been caught by the scattered star prison and must be watched. In the eyes of others, breaking through to a peak-level dangling fisher was a piece of cake. However, if he made a breakthrough in less than 3 days, it would be suspicious in the eyes of those who were observant. Chapter 650. A month later. There was only a small fish tied on the skeleton shore during this period, and nothing major happened. Every day, everyone still scavenged and hunted in the sea day and night. In order to pay back the money, everyone devoted all their energy to earn points. During this period, although some people died, the number was very few, only less than 5 people. In a place like the Scattered Stars Island, this mortality rate seemed to be extremely low. And in the 8th Battalion, the richest one should be Han Fei. Han Fei probably had nearly 6 million points, which was not far from his 8 million points. This morning, many people met to go to sea. All of a sudden, the spiritual energy within a radius of dozens of kilometers gathered towards the skeleton shore camp like a tide. Someone made a breakthrough. Something's wrong. Did someone become an advanced hanging fisher? No. Isn't the place where the spiritual energy is gathering where Captain Han lives? Let's go and have a look. Yu Lingyun, Wu Xiaoxiao, and the others were already standing in the place where Han Fei lived. At this moment, Wu Xiaoxiao asked expectantly, "Sister Lingyun, how strong do you think Captain will be if he makes a breakthrough?" Yu Lingyun nodded seriously. "No one in the 8th Battalion can stop him." Leng Hui nodded. "Very strong. The surrounding spiritual energy is sweeping over. This doesn't look like the momentum of a breakthrough." Gu Daliang held his armor box. Captain's physique is really desirable. But what they didn't know was that Han Fei had to pretend for this breakthrough. Every time he made a breakthrough, he needed a huge amount of spiritual energy. He needed to attract the surrounding spiritual energy through a spirit-gathering array to cover up the spiritual energy that was constantly pouring out of Forge the Universe. After half an hour, the spiritual energy was still there. Han Fei had consumed nearly 5 million points of spiritual energy, and the barrier of the breakthrough was right in front of him. Han Fei lost a lot of weight, so he had to swallow 2 mouthfuls of candle dragon blood to stabilize the process of the breakthrough. With a crisp cracking sound, the surrounding spiritual energy vibrated, and Han Fei's body seemed to have become a dry river. 3 high-quality spiritual stones were broken in a row before he could barely support the supply of spiritual energy. Han Fei was different from others. Perhaps because the void fishing art that he practiced was of a high level, he consumed a lot of spiritual energy when he made a breakthrough. Besides, making a breakthrough with the void fishing art was not as simple as just making a breakthrough. This cultivation technique seemed to want to completely stabilize the realm of the cultivator after the breakthrough, and finish it all in one go. As a result, not only could Han Fei not stop devouring spiritual energy, but he also had to continue to supply it. Many people in the outside world cried out in surprise. Didn't Captain Han make a breakthrough? Why hasn't the vortex of spiritual energy stopped? Someone guessed, it must be a high-level cultivation technique. After the breakthrough, you still have to stabilize your body. Yu Lingyun roared, "Nobody is allowed to peek or affect the captain's breakthrough." Yu Lingyun informed everybody telepathically. After all, making a sound was very likely to affect Han Fei. But Yu Lingyun didn't know that he could hear Yu Lingyun's voice at this moment. I can eavesdrop on others? This was the first thought in Han Fei's mind. Before he was surprised, Han Fei suddenly found that his supply of spiritual energy was slowly weakening. Immediately, he focused on introspection and then was shocked to find that the originally extremely smooth spiritual energy began to become viscous. After about 10 minutes, Han Fei let out a sigh of relief. It turned out that it wasn't that the spiritual energy became viscous, but that the spiritual energy had turned into spiritual liquid in his body. Han Fei couldn't help but think of what Xiao Zhan and Wenrenyu said. Dangling fishers were only low-level cultivators, and hanging fishers were the beginning of cultivation. Could it be that this breakthrough started from the transformation of spiritual energy into spiritual liquid? This state of spiritual energy liquefaction lasted about half an hour. For this breakthrough, Han Fei consumed about 8 million points of spiritual energy in total. When everything calmed down, Han Fei immediately looked at his data. How can I be level 42? When Han Fei saw the number 42, he was stunned. It shouldn't be. According to his past experience, he should be level 43 at this moment, reaching the peak of a junior hanging fisher. But obviously, the current situation didn't seem right. Yes, he was a junior hanging fisher, but he was much weaker than level 42. Besides, the upper limit of his spiritual energy had become 9,001 points, an increase of 1,002 points. But Han Fei still felt that something was wrong. Logically speaking, after his breakthrough, his spiritual energy should have increased a lot. But now this data didn't make Han Fei feel that it had increased a lot. And when he compared his realm and level, Han Fei's heart sank. The advantage of rapid breakthroughs in void fishing was probably gone. The so-called level 42 was probably just level 42 after he stabilized himself at level 41. However, Han Fei didn't panic. After all, this was how Xia Xiaochan and the others grew up. In a single small realm, the growth speed should be relatively fast. He would know this after trying it in the future. In Han Fei's opinion, his spiritual power had increased greatly. Not only did he break a barrier, but he also seemed to have grown a little more than he imagined. In this way, he could continue to absorb soul crystals or the god-scaring painting. This was good news. When facing the half-mermaid, Han Fei found that the other party's perception range was larger than his. It could be said that under the attack of such a strong master, whoever had a larger perception range would have the upper hand. This was indisputable. Therefore, Han Fei knew that he had to include soul crystals in his purchase plan. This gave Han Fei a headache. He hadn't bought the million poison fruit yet, and now he needed soul crystals. This would cost more than 10 million points of credit. In this month, he had already used up all the Spirit Awakening fluid. Except for the 200 caddies of Spirit Awakening fluid that he used. Little Gold upgraded by 3 levels and reached level 38. Nine Tails upgraded by 1 level and reached level 38. Little Black and Little White upgraded by 2 levels and reached level 38. Little Fatty was fed 200 caddies of Spirit Awakening fluid, but its level didn't change. It was still level 38. Just these few guys had consumed about 2,800 caddies of Spirit Awakening fluid. Han Fei couldn't help but sigh. It turned out that the Scattered Stars Island was the most expensive place. Of course, after spending a huge amount of money and countless costs, the benefits Han Fei got were also extremely obvious. They were all real combat power. At least, as far as Han Fei was concerned, he couldn't defeat all the hanging fishers, but most ordinary people should be no match for him. As for those geniuses, they would be suppressed by him sooner or later. However, Han Fei had only been on the Scattered Stars Island for more than 2 months. Time was still short, so he wasn't in a hurry. When would he be able to push Little Black and Little White to level 40 and get some unknown inheritances? Then his strength would reach the level of an advanced hanging fisher. If he could also get a divine weapon, then he would really have a foothold on the Scattered Stars Island. As for now, he still stayed on the island and couldn't even enter the sea. Because if he went in, he might not be able to come out. In the treehouse, Han Fei was eavesdropping on other people's voice transmissions. Someone said, "Hey, what's the background of this Han Fei? Isn't his growth too fast? From an advanced dangling fisher to a hanging fisher in 2 months, it's amazing." Someone responded, "Don't forget, he is a body cultivator. That's what's really scary about him." Someone said to her via voice transmission, what do you think if I find a time to drug Han Fei and knock him out?" "Why? If I drug him and then sleep with him, won't he become my man?" Puff, cough, cough. In the treehouse, Han Fei choked on his own words. What the hell are these people doing? It's too dangerous. Boys nowadays have to protect themselves at all times. Since he had spoken, Han Fei naturally came out. Han Fei said with a smile, I had an epiphany this morning and made a breakthrough by luck. Congratulations, Captain Han. You have become a hanging fisher. Han Fei, your breakthrough speed is too fast. Captain Han, I've observed you. Your temperament has changed. Han Fei said with a smile, it's useless no matter how nice you say it. I know many of you have almost paid off your debts. Is there anyone else who wants to refine ultra-quality spiritual weapons? I'm free now. The price is as before, Immediately, many people fell silent and thought to themselves, "This guy is tempting us again." Many people hadn't paid off their debts yet. They said with a wry smile, "Captain Han, let us accumulate more. The materials, spiritual spring, and credit points we have accumulated are still far from enough." Han Fei smiled. "Don't worry. By the way, I will go to the refining hall in a few days. If anything happens on the skeleton shore, remember to find me in the refining hall." Wu Xiaoxiao said, "Captain, you haven't taken us out to sea for a long time." Han Fei was taken aback. Really? It's hard to be a captain. I'm busy with chores. When I come back, I will take you to sweep the skeleton shore. But now, if you have something to do, take Chao Chiu with you. He will take my place first." Asking for votes, end of this chapter. Chapter 651. In the refining hall. Han Fei was bargaining with a shopping guide. "Look, I'm a 3-star refiner. It's not too much for me to rent a refining room and a booth, right?" The shopping guide was amused. "But, Mr. Refiner, do you have to hang this cloth? If you hang this cloth, other refiners will definitely have a problem with it." Han Fei pulled the cloth in his hand. "Let's compete fairly. Is there a problem with my cloth?" The shopping guide was speechless. "You call it no problem? Look at what you wrote. What is it called? One-stop refining and spirit sealing with a 30% discount every day. If you hang this up, how can other people do business?" Suddenly, Han Fei stealthily said, "What do you think about this? How much can you make in a day? 100 high-quality pearls? 200? I'll charge you 500, okay? Now I'll pay you 1,000 a day to hire you. How about that?" The shopping guide opened his mouth. "How much?" Han Fei grinned. 1,000 high-quality pearls a day. You heard me right. As long as you hang this cloth on the door for me, no one is allowed to take it off." Han Fei was persuading him patiently. How much was 1,000 high-quality pearls? A lot of people wanted to earn this salary. He was not short of money now, but credit points. Besides, an ultra-quality spiritual weapon was worth more than 10,000 mid-quality pearls. Sealing a spirit would cost at least 20,000. If the level of sealing a spirit was slightly higher, it would be 34,000 or 40,000. He didn't need this money at all. Han Fei said with a smile, "How about it? Do you want to consider it?" The shopping guide immediately took a breath. "Okay, then I'll guard your door." Han Fei immediately grinned. "Okay, for every customer you help me attract, I'll give you 100 high-quality pearls as a commission. If you can attract 100, I'll give you 10,000 high-quality pearls as a commission, and your salary will be calculated separately." The shopping guide immediately took another breath, grabbed the cloth in Han Fei's hand, and said solemnly, "As long as the customer is here, the cloth will be here." Han Fei grinned. "Good, then I'll wait for someone in the refining room." Han Fei went into the refining room, cleaned up the refining table with a smile, filled the vat with spiritual spring, and looked at the walls. They seemed to be a little empty. Immediately, he hung his battle suit, long saber, brick, water-dividing seal, blue sea wandering dragon dagger, blue sea wandering dragon rod, blood-drinking saber, and so on. They were all supreme-grade spirit artifacts with sealed spirits, so their grades should not be low. After cleaning up, Han Fei sat down in the room and closed his eyes to rest, quietly waiting for the first customer to come in. Han Fei was in the room and had no idea what was going on outside. After all, this place was shielded from perception. At this moment, outside the crafting room, in less than a quarter of an hour, a circle of people had gathered outside. At this moment, the shop assistant was already surrounded. Someone asked, "How many stars is the refiner inside? You're so awesome and you're even offering a 30% discount?" Someone squeezed through the doorway. "Is the one inside really that cheap?" Someone shouted, "Line up, line up." The shop assistant was also a little confused. Although she knew that there would be a lot of people coming once the sign was hung up, she still didn't know what to do. Wasn't it a bit too enthusiastic? Were people so rich nowadays? Immediately, the shop assistant said, "Wait a minute. I'll go in and ask. Seeing the seal move, Han Fei grinned and said, Welcome, welcome. What do you want? Why are you here? Is there no one here? It shouldn't be. Is it because you hung the banner in the wrong way? No, let me do it myself. No, no, the shop assistant said with a bitter smile. Well, Master Han Fei, there are too many people outside. How are you going to choose? You can't let all of them in at once, can you? Han Fei was taken aback and then said excitedly, Really? Are there many people? Then call them all in. What's the matter with letting the guests stand outside? Huh. The shop assistant was stunned. Pull all of them in? Can you refine all of them? Han Fei immediately said, I can collect the money in advance. Why can't I refine all of them? Immediately, Han Fei hurriedly urged, Call them in first. The shop assistant was speechless and thought to himself, even refiners don't refine in this way. A 3-star refiner, even if he is a spiritual energy refiner, can refine at most 10 weapons a day. How confident is this person to dare to call all of them in? So, after a while, a group of people filed in. Outside, more than 20 people rushed in, and some people were still squeezing in. Han Fei immediately said with a smile, Welcome, everyone, welcome. Someone was surprised. Such a young 3-star refiner? Little brother, are you a 3-star refiner? Han Fei smiled and pointed to the 3-star refiner's certificate hanging on his waist. I'm the real deal. If you can't refine it, it's free. If you can't refine it, it's free. If you can't seal a spirit, it's free. Everyone, what do you want to refine? Immediately, someone shouted, Don't push. I came here first. Line up, line up. Immediately, someone pushed forward. What do you mean you came here first? I came in with you. Someone said, I'm the third to come in. I'm the fourth. I'm the fifth. Those who came to the refining hall basically knew that a refiner's energy was limited. Han Fei's offer of a 30% discount was simply too fucking attractive. But Han Fei raised his hand and said, Everyone, don't worry, don't worry. Here's how I do it. You can ask me to refine a weapon, and you can usually get it on the same day. But everyone, refining here is very simple. I only accept points, not high-quality pearls. Also, you have to bring your own creatures that need to be sealed. When everything is ready, you can line up outside. It only takes half an hour, and you can take an ultra-quality spiritual weapon home. What? Half an hour? Wow. How can it be so fast? Master, are you sure? Master, why don't you refine one for us to see? Han Fei bragged too much. Half an hour? Do you think you can refine a low-quality spiritual weapon? Han Fei grinned. He was already ready, so he immediately said, Come on, who wants to try first? I can demonstrate it to you on the spot. Me. Han Fei directly grabbed a soul warrior. Come on, it's you. Will you provide the materials yourself, or shall I provide them? With that, Han Fei waved his hand, and a large pile of materials piled up like a hill, all of which were ultra-quality materials. Immediately, someone took a breath. He's really rich. Although there was no shortage of ultra-quality materials on the scattered stars island. However, he took out so many at once. Was he really a human being? Han Fei felt very comfortable. Before, when he refined weapons for the people of the 8th Battalion, most of them gave him 2 sets of materials. But he didn't need 2 sets of materials to refine weapons himself. So he just refined 1 set and kept the other. He kept them and kept them. In the end, he had nearly 300 sets. Han Fei looked at the soul warrior with a smile. So, will you use my materials or your materials? The soul warrior froze for a moment. What's the difference? Han Fei chuckled. If you use my materials, I'll also give you a 30% discount on the material cost. You need to give me 3 sets of materials, right? I don't need it. I'll give you 2 sets of materials and give you a 30% discount. After I use up this batch of materials, I won't get this discount. Wow! Immediately, someone's eyes turned red. Hey, if you don't want it, I'll take it. Someone squeezed forward. I have points. Master, I'll refine 2 at a time. Master, I'll refine 3 at a time. Master, I'll give you points first. Han Fei was very excited, but he had to pretend to be calm on the surface. But Han Fei stopped him. Everyone has a share. I still have a lot of materials and you all have this discount. So, big brother, are you going to use my material or your own? The man immediately said, of course, I'll use yours. Han Fei immediately grinned. Okay, do you want to go next door and buy a creature that can seal souls? Later, I'll seal it. The man was taken aback and then hurriedly said, wait a moment. I'll be right there. Very soon. After saying that, the man rushed out with a whoosh. This man said it was fast, and it only took him less than 5 minutes to carry back a giant feathered horseshoe scorpion, a level 43 big scorpion. Han Fei immediately beamed with joy. This price was not low. Even if there was a 30% discount, it would still cost 40,000 points. What a profit! Ahem! Everyone, please step back. Hearing this, everyone stepped back, and Han Fei asked, what are you going to refine? The man immediately said, a spear. I'm going to refine a long spear, a little taller and heavier than me. Han Fei immediately smiled and said, okay. Han Fei immediately waved his hand, and 8 kinds of materials were grabbed from the pile of materials by him, and spiritual energy instantly enveloped these materials. In everyone's stunned gaze, the materials were melting rapidly, and the spiritual energy was faintly burning. Immediately afterward, in less than 5 minutes, everyone saw a large amount of impurities dripping from the air. In a moment, the materials in the turbulent spiritual energy mass emitted a faint luster. 5 minutes passed in a flash. All the materials had entered the fusion stage. Although everyone was surprised by Han Fei's fast refining speed, no one dared to make a sound and all widened their eyes. In another 5 minutes, the long spear was condensed, and the body of the spear looked quite thick. There were layers of whorls on it, and there were vivid fish and insect carvings. The tip of the spear was sharp, and there was a trace of dark red at the tip. When the spiritual energy dissipated, the long spear was completed. The tip of the spear was dazzling, and the luster was as clear as a mirror, extremely sharp. Han Fei grabbed the spear with one hand and poured spiritual energy into it. The luster of an ultra-quality spiritual weapon immediately illuminated the entire refining room. Wow, that's it? Isn't this too fast? So fast. It's the first time I've seen someone refining so fast. Someone immediately said, Master, may I know your name? Han Fei grinned. You flatter me. I am Han Fei, one of the 3 genius refiners of the Scattered Stars Island, together with Mu Jia, and Guan Qingyan. Someone once said that the 3 of us are the 3 rising stars in the refining world of the Scattered Stars Island. Once, I was the brightest one among them. Ahem! The group of people was dumbfounded. Is this a compliment? Someone said to Han Fei via voice transmission, although he is a bit shameless, his refining speed is indeed fast. Someone responded, he's a genius. It's normal to be a little conceited. Hello, Master Han. Genius Han, is it my turn next? Brother Han, are you going to show me the spirit sealing technique next? Han Fei sighed. Everyone, I may not be able to show you the spirit sealing technique. This is a secret of the Han family, and it can't be seen by outsiders. Everyone, please wait for me outside for a moment. I'll be ready soon. Asking for votes, end of this chapter. Chapter 652. Han Fei had achieved his goal. The refining hall had always been short of refiners, let alone one as fast as Han Fei. A supreme-grade spirit weapon could be refined in minutes. Who would be able to hold themselves back? The level of the Scattered Stars Island was much higher than that of the Level 3 fishery. However, supreme-grade spiritual weapons were still mainstream, and there were also methods to seal spirits in them. Weapons were much stronger than superior-quality spiritual weapons. As for the Level 3 fishery, how many people had ultra-quality spiritual weapons? Over there, mid- and low-grade spiritual weapons were the mainstream, and they were even unsealed. Because the refiners who were capable of sealing souls were not in the level 3 fishery at all. They were either on the Scattered Stars Island or in the Thousand Star City. Only these two places could make money. Han Fei didn't dare to show off too much, and it took him 5 minutes to walk out of the door. Han Fei was holding a spear in his hand. Come on, it's sealed. Feel it. Han Fei threw the spear in his hand to the Soul Warrior. The latter excitedly injected spiritual energy, and immediately, a dazzling light appeared on the tip of the spear. It was the stinger of the giant feathered horseshoe crab. In the eyes of the crowd, not only the stinger, but even the spear radiance also emitted several stingers. That was the effect of the other stingers on the giant feathered horseshoe crab's tail. The body of the spear shone brilliantly, dazzling and moving. It's done. So fast, spirit sealing can actually be this fast? The Soul Warrior grinned from ear to ear. However, before he could pay, a group of people had already rushed over. Grandmaster Han, it's my turn. I have enough points. Grandmaster Han, I was the first to arrive. Don't fight, I'm being squeezed. The passers-by all turned to look at them. Someone couldn't help but ask, who is this? One-stop shop for weapon forging and spirit sealing, a special 30% discount every day. What a crazy sign. The person who was pulled said warily, don't even think about cutting the queue. This spot is mine. Han Fei said, please line up in order. One by one. But, please move aside, let me collect the money first. When he got 40,000 points, Han Fei smiled. In the field of refining, it was indeed profitable, earning money from one's grandma's house. Han Fei couldn't help but sigh. How could there be such a profitable thing in the world? It was as if it had fallen from the sky. Half a day later, the refining hall in the west side of the Scattered Stars Island was already overcrowded. In front of refining room number 18, it was already too crowded. Outside the refining hall, someone passed by and couldn't help but ask, hey, brother, what's wrong with the refining hall today? Why are there so many people? Someone replied, it's said that a master of refining has come. He's a one-stop shop for refining and sealing weapons. He's offering a 30% discount every day. This person's forging speed is extremely fast, and his forging quality is also good. He can get the weapon on the spot. Hiss. Really? Why would I lie to you? It's full. Mu Jia and Guan Qingyan just got the news. Guan Qingyan was immersed in designing weapons. He was wondering if engraving arrays on weapons could refine semi-divine weapons. He did not have high hopes for a divine weapon. To forge a divine weapon, first of all, one needed good materials. Secondly, the technique was a problem. Then it was time to seal the spirit. The level of the living creature had to be high. If he wanted to blaze a new trail, he would have to take an unusual path. Many great refiners had begun to study forging and tempering methods. They had tempered the materials to the extreme, but they still hadn't refined a divine weapon. Guan Qingyan was tempted by this and he was determined to study arrays. Suddenly, Mu Jia rushed over shouting, Guan Qingyan, little Guan Guan. Something bad has happened. Guan Qingyan didn't even raise his head and responded indifferently, don't disturb me. Mu Jia didn't care. She directly grabbed Guan Qingyan's clothes. Let's go. I heard that there is a refining madman in the refining hall. His success rate is 100%, and he has never failed, even in spirit sealing. Guan Qingyan raised his head suspiciously. 100%? Mu Jia nodded. It must be a 5-star refiner who is refining weapons. It seems to be refining on the spot. Let's go and have a look. Guan Qingyan's expression changed. 5-star refiner? Let's go. When the two hurried to the refining hall, they were dumbfounded. There was already a long line outside the refining hall, and hundreds of people were waiting outside. Mu Jia was dumbfounded. Are these people sick? Even if he is a 5-star refiner, how can he be so fast? With so many people waiting, when will he finish refining? Guan Qingyan nodded solemnly. He is undoubtedly a master. The two were about to go in, when a staff member came out of the refining hall. Everyone, our refining hall has communicated with Master Han. Master Han will only refine 300 weapons this time. Therefore, those whose number is less than 300 can go back first. You can come back next time when Master Han opens his altars again. Master Han. Mu Jia and Guan Qingyan glanced at each other and said at the same time, Han Fei. Mu Jia said hesitantly, impossible. How long has it been since that guy got the 3-star refiner certificate? Guan Qingyan's expression changed slightly. Why not? You and I have seen Brother Han refining weapons. His speed is so fast that few people can match him. Mu Jia said unhappily, I'll go in and have a look. Why is he giving me a 30% discount? Mu Jia and Guan Qingyan were both 3-star refiners and refining geniuses, so they didn't have to wait in line to enter the refining hall. However, when the two entered, they saw a long line all the way to the door of a creature grocery store. The dozens of people in the front, each with a creature tied up, were waiting quietly. When Mu Jia and Guan Qingyan appeared, someone immediately exclaimed, It's Mu Jia and Guan Qingyan, who are called the 3 genius refiners together with Master Han. Mu Jia was taken aback and said to the man, Who is called the 3 genius refiners together with us? The man grinned. Of course it's Master Han. By the way, Miss Mu, can you give me a 30% discount? If you give me a 30% discount, I'll go to your place right now. Mu Jia bared her teeth. I won't. Mu Jia ran to the door excitedly and was about to rush in. The shop assistant was about to stop her, but a hand had already held Mu Jia down. Guan Qingyan said lightly, reckless. Then Guan Qingyan said to the shop assistant, Please go in and tell Brother Han that we are here. The shop assistant sucked in a deep breath. These 2 genius blacksmiths were here. Could it be that they were here to cause trouble? Okay, please wait a moment. Indoors. Han Fei was eating dried fish. Sealing souls was an extremely fast thing for him. During this period, he could take a break and eat some snacks. Seeing the shop assistant come in, Han Fei immediately stuffed the dried fish into his mouth. Why you here? The shop assistant was also taken aback. Isn't he sealing souls? However, she didn't ask much and just said respectfully, Master Han, Miss Jia, and Master Guan are here. Han Fei was taken aback. Mu Jia and Guan Qingyan? Yes, let them in. Han Fei was speechless. It's not easy for me to make money and you're here to steal my business? Han Fei immediately said, Come in, let them in. Han Fei thought for a moment. I have to trick them, but how can I trick them to earn points for me? Mu Jia and Guan Qingyan had already walked in. Mu Jia exclaimed and pointed at Han Fei. How can you keep refining? Han Fei shrugged. I'm refining. What does it have to do with you? You can also give me a 30% discount. Guan Qingyan asked curiously, Brother Han, do you have enough spiritual power? Han Fei frowned. Are they asking about this? Han Fei immediately smiled. In fact, it's not enough. Don't you see that I'm resting now? With that said, Han Fei took out dried fish and handed it to the 2 of them. Would you like 2 pieces? Mu Jia took the dried fish and stuffed it directly into her mouth. Can dried fish increase spiritual power? It's quite delicious. Guan Qingyan took the dried fish suspiciously and chewed it. This is just ordinary dried fish. Han Fei smiled. Of course it's ordinary dried fish. Of course, I rely on eating spiritual fruits to supplement my spiritual power. As he talked, Han Fei took out a spiritual fruit and bit it like a real fruit. Then, he swallowed the spiritual fruit in 2 or 3 mouthfuls, and the room was immediately filled with fragrance. Guan Qingyan breathed a sigh of relief. I see. Mu Jia put her hands on her hips. When did you become one of the 3 refining geniuses with us? Han Fei said, Did I? It's all because the customers are too enthusiastic. It's just an empty reputation. Mu Jia scoffed. Then how can others do business if you give them a 30% discount? Han Fei said seriously, Well, I have to seriously criticize you. Do we refine to make money? We spend the least amount of money so that more people can get the weapons they want. Why do I work hard to reduce costs? I do it for the scattered stars island, for the soldiers who are always struggling on the line of life and death. Don't you think refiners make enough money? An ultra-quality spiritual weapon, plus materials and spirit sealing, costs at least 60,000 points. How can an ordinary person afford it? Muj pouted and said, how can it be 60,000? It's about 40,000. Han Fei grinned. That's the materials they provide themselves. Look at me, I provide the materials myself and help them save a lot of money. So, girl, only by thinking about the world can you achieve great things. How could Mu Jia win against Han Fei? Dumbfounded by Han Fei's words, she stammered, it's not too late for you to have an epiphany. Why don't you help me refine weapons? It's a good deed. Everyone will remember you well. Come on, I have more than 200 sets of materials here. Let's divide them. If you finish early, I can treat you to hot pot. Mu Jia was so confused by Han Fei's words. What is hot pot? Han Fei clicked his tongue. It's the most wonderful food in the world. Then Han Fei looked at Guan Qingyan. Brother Guan, do you want to do a good deed? Guan Qingyan twitched his mouth. Only a silly girl like Mu Jia could be fooled by Han Fei. He had long seen that Han Fei was just making money. But Guan Qingyan also wanted to see how Han Fei refined weapons, so he said, then I'll learn from Brother Han. Han Fei nodded. You're welcome. Just take it as an experience. Third update. Asking for votes. Add 7,400 votes, put it at around 7 o'clock. Now the monthly votes of the bookstore are separated from the Qidian and have their own list, but I'll count them according to the highest monthly votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 653. At the door of refining room number 18. Han Fei handed out the weapon with a smile and then said to the crowd, everyone, now 3 people can come in at a time. I just sincerely invited the other 2 genius refiners of the Scattered Stars Island to join my team. It can greatly speed up the refining process and won't keep you waiting for long. Really? Someone was at a loss. What's going on? Miss Jia and Guan Qingyan are not here to make trouble? Why did they join hands? Who cares? Anyway, I just want a 30% discount. It doesn't matter who refines it. It doesn't matter who seals it. Han Fei entered the room with a smile. He didn't really need these 2 people's help. However, Han Fei could probably guess the purpose of Guan Qingyan's visit. They wanted to observe him refining, but it should be true that they wanted to see him seal spirits. If he wanted to become a genius, he couldn't keep the method of sealing spirits forever. However, he couldn't let them see it completely. After all, he had said it was a secret. So Han Fei set up a mist array and said to the 2 of them with a smile, well, it's not that I don't want to, but I can't teach the method of sealing spirits to others. However, I can let you listen to it. Mu Jia pouted. Humph, I don't want to listen to it. Guan Qingyan nodded. But when refining, before Guan Qingyan and Mu Jia finished the first step of the spirit fusing technique, a long sword had already condensed in Han Fei's hand. Guan Qingyan and Mu Jia's eyelids twitched for a long time. The 2 of them were speechless. How strong is this guy's control of spiritual energy? Han Fei smiled. He had already discovered it when he was refining just now. Although Mu Jia usually looked a little silly, she was very focused when it came to refining. But Guan Qingyan had been observing him with his perception. In other words, Guan Qingyan could multitask. This was not a simple thing, which showed that Guan Qingyan's refining level was definitely higher than 3-star level. Han Fei dragged a big crab, hid in the mist array, and set up a concealment array for himself. Then, get in, you think you're so tough? I'll beat you to death, do you believe me? If you go in, you'll gain eternal life. If you don't, you'll die. Brother Crab, I'm so jealous of you. Do you know that you're going to gain eternal life? Only 5 or 6 breaths later, Han Fei walked out of the mist array with a smile. This time, the spirit sealing had been completed. He glanced at Mu Jia and Guan Qingyan. Mu Jia's forehead was covered in sweat. She had probably been shocked by him and didn't dare to be distracted. Therefore, it was very uncomfortable to hold it in at this moment. He was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. As for Guan Qingyan, he was speechless. Damn it. Is it really that simple? Most importantly, wasn't it too simple? However, Guan Qingyan did gain something. Just now, he clearly saw Han Fei's refining technique. He was indeed unparalleled. His control of spiritual energy was just right. Just this point alone made it worth it for him to work for free. Being able to observe a few more times would indeed be helpful to him. In the outside world, the Scattered Stars prison. Zhang Ting asked, "What? That kid went to the refining hall to refine weapons without taking a rest?" A woman whose whole face was hidden under a hat said, "Yes, and someone advertised them as the 3 genius refiners of the Scattered Stars Island. Mu Jia and Guan Qingyan refined weapons with him." Zhang Teng was speechless. "He is from the Scattered Stars 4th unit, I know. But didn't he just enter the Scattered Stars 4th unit? Why is he so talented?" The woman said, "His refining speed is faster than Guan Qingyan and Mu Jia, and the quality is not bad at all." Zhang Teng licked the corner of his mouth and said, "No wonder the Scattered Stars 7th unit asked me to find out Han Fei's background. With this kind of talent, it's possible for him to enter the Scattered Stars 1st unit. Naturally, we have to be extremely cautious. We can't be careless." Zhang Teng waved his hand and said, "Keep watching. 30% discount, only accepting points. This guy wants to make money and buy something, right? Keep an eye on him and see what he exchanged for in the logistics division." Yes. One day later, Mu Jia went on strike and muttered, "How can you refine weapons like this? Refining 16 ultra-quality spiritual weapons a day and sealing spirits. Han Fei, you deliberately let us refine weapons for you." While refining, Han Fei replied, "You can't say that. As the saying goes, practice makes perfect. Have you ever noticed that when your spiritual energy is exhausted, new spiritual energy will be generated? You are squeezing yourself. I am helping you grow faster." Mu Jia kept stuffing dried fish into her mouth. "I quit. I can't refine anymore. I'll watch you refine." Han Fei thought of something and threw some potato chips to Mu Jia. "Take your time and continue when you are finished. You are going to refine a divine weapon in the future. How can you give up halfway? Refining a divine weapon takes time and effort. If the divine weapon collapses because you can't hold on, it will be too late for you to cry." While refining, Guan Qingyan asked Han Fei, "Brother Han, how did you improve your control of spiritual energy?" Of course, Han Fei had already thought of an answer. He immediately said, "I am a spirit gatherer. I am naturally sensitive to spiritual energy. I can clearly feel every bit of spiritual energy's dynamics and will. As long as you guide it well, you can do it too." Guan Qingyan frowned. "Do spirit gatherers have this talent? I also know a few refiners who are spirit gatherers, but they are not as fast as you. And they may not even be as fast as me." "Why is that?" Han Fei grinned. "Do they know how to set up arrays?" Guan Qingyan nodded. "No." Han Fei smiled. "That's right. They don't know how to set up arrays, so they can't refine them fast. The ingenuity of arrays itself requires a very high control of spiritual energy. There are thousands of large arrays and countless array diagrams, all of which are drawn with spiritual energy. There can't be a single mistake. So, it's natural that I can control spiritual energy well." Suddenly, Guan Qingyan's heart skipped a beat and the mass of materials in his hand collapsed. Fortunately, he quickly came back to his senses and took another material. Han Fei was distressed. "This is all money. If it is destroyed, it will be tens of thousands of points. Don't get excited. Calm down." Guan Qingyan asked, "Brother Han, what do you think about engraving arrays on weapons when refining? Is it possible to break through the limit of ultra-quality spiritual weapons?" Han Fei frowned slightly. This was like engraving arrays on the wind god boat. It seemed feasible. Han Fei immediately said, "It should be useful. But if it's just a single array, the improvement should not be great." Thus, Guan Qingyan asked, "Unless what?" "Unless countless arrays can be superimposed, layer after layer, and with the help of spiritual energy conduction, the arrays can be fully activated." "But are you trying to refine a divine weapon with this method?" Guan Qingyan's eyes flickered. "Yes." Mu Jia, who was chewing on potato chips, suddenly stopped. "Really? But this method has been tried before, and no one has succeeded." Han Fei also had an idea. "It's extremely difficult. How big is the weapon? If you want to superimpose one array after another on a weapon, the effect will definitely not be as good as the effect during refining. But if you engrave arrays at the same time as refining, so that the refined weapon will be in a state of spirit refinement, and then you have to conceive the array to be set up. Even if this step can be thought of in advance, you have to at least engrave arrays at the same time as refining." Han Fei turned his head and looked at Guan Qingyan. "Ordinary people don't have this ability. At least you have to multitask, or even multitask, to have a chance." Guan Qingyan's eyes flickered. "In other words, it's possible?" Han Fei asked. "The point is, if you refine it like this, the materials will still be ultra-quality spiritual weapons. Will it become a divine weapon?" Guan Qingyan nodded. "I don't know. You have to try. As far as I know, at least someone has succeeded." Han Fei was stunned. "Who?" Mu Jia curled her lips. "Oh, Xiaoguan, that's just a rumor. Think about it. You have to multitask to create arrays. And the arrays are connected. Only a genius in the field of arrays can create arrays. The rumor of that person is like a story. No one has ever seen it." Guan Qingyan exhaled, completed the last step of spirit refinement, and slowly said, "Not necessarily. Others believe this is just a rumor, but we are refiners. All this makes sense in theory, but it's extremely difficult to do. I've already set foot in the field of arrays. However, after watching Brother Han refining these 2 days, I think this is very possible." Han Fei was dumbfounded. "Wait, what rumor? Is there really someone who refined a divine weapon in this way?" Guan Qingyan said lightly, "Speaking of which, that person is from the same family as Brother Han." Han Fei? Mu Jia scoffed. "What do you mean? Although we all believe in Brother Han, Martial Han used to be a real top heavenly talent. Elegant, indifferent, powerful, domineering." Han Fei threw a small dried fish at Mu Jia's head. "Don't be infatuated. Who's it?" Mu Jia was so angry that she also threw a handful of dried fish at Han Fei. "Humph, of course it's the former Supreme Commander of the Scattered Stars Island, Martial Han Guanshu." Han Fei said in surprise. "This person is the Supreme Commander? Then why is he refining weapons?" Guan Qingyan smiled faintly. "Martial Han's history is in the past. However, if you search carefully, you can still find relevant information about him. He was once the Supreme Commander of the Scattered Stars Island and the only 6-star refiner in the history of the Scattered Stars Island." "Wow!" Han Fei asked. "So powerful? Where is he now? Has he gone to the 1,000-star city?" "No, if he can refine divine weapons, then the method of refining divine weapons should have been leaked long ago." Mu Jia said in frustration, "What can we do? Martial Han is dead." "Dead?" Han Fei was dumbfounded. If he can be the Supreme Commander, he must be terrifyingly strong. How could he be dead? Mu Jia nodded. "Yes, he's dead. More than 30 years ago, it was said that Martial Han betrayed the clan, and then he seemed to have been killed." Bam! The spiritual energy wrapped in the materials in front of Han Fei exploded. Seeing Guan Qingyan's astonishment, Han Fei quickly said, "Cough, cough. I'm surprised. Such a powerful figure actually betrayed the clan? It's even better than 7,400 words. It's over today. Some people say that there will be explosive updates during the new year. Let's put it this way. Today is the 10th, but I've already updated 160,000 words. In the past, The average monthly update was 300,000 words. I can't save any manuscripts at all. If I save it, it will explode. But I don't have a single point for the new year. After all, we also have to celebrate the new year, but we'll see. If there are no explosive updates, I can also show off live, end of this chapter, that you're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.